Please take your seat. Thank you.
I may not have a choice. Carol, I said hi to you. You went and talked to the big people. Mr. Mayor, how are you?
How are you?
I saw you
Happy New
recently.
Year. Yeah.
I haven't seen everybody else. So.
Yeah.
Dick, good to go? I don't have.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular council meeting. This is our first one for the year 2020. And on behalf of my family, and I hope that everyone gonna have a chance to wish each and everyone a happy new year, and I hope that the city of North Miami is having an interesting year. Happy New Year to each and everyone. Madam Clerk, can you?
Thank you, Mayor. Happy New Year. Councilwoman Estime Irvin,
Present.
Councilman Galvin,
Here.
Councilwoman Keys,
Here.
Vice Mayor Desilme,
Here.
Mayor Bieneme.
Yeah.
Mayor, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much. We are going to have our prayer with Pastor Joanem Florial from Shalom Community Church, followed by Sergeant Tori Holmes for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, everyone. I consider it a distinct honor and awesome privilege to be chosen as the minister to offer the invocation for the first council meeting of the year 2020. I want to seize this opportunity to wish each and every one of you a happy new year. May this year be filled with love, joy, and a peace that passes all understanding. Let us go ahead for a word of prayer. Dear God, we thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon our life. We thank you, O God, God of might and God of mercy, God of things both seen and unseen, the God from whom all blessings flow. We come before you this evening acknowledging that you alone are God. We thank you for what you have done in the past for the city of North Miami. And I pray that you continue to give its elected officials, along with the entire administrative team, vision and boldness to take the city to a new level as they seek to improve the life of all the residents of North Miami. Give them, O God, clarity of mind as they're about to discuss sensitive issues in regards to the betterment of this community. I pray, O God, for protection over all the law enforcement officers as they fulfill their duties with pride and justice. No weapon formed against them shall prosper. I pray for all the city employees. May they find joy and fulfillment in their daily task. Father God, may the spirit of wisdom and of understanding, the spirit of counsel and of power, the spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord rest upon each and every one of us, now and forever and ever. Amen.
Will everyone place their right hand over their heart and repeat after me?
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A special presentation tonight. I want everyone to take a moment of silence, recognizing the 10th anniversary of the 80s earthquake, which was this past Sunday, January 12, 2020, and the most recent series of earthquakes in the island of Puerto Rico. Let's keep them in our prayers. Please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. City announcement.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, North Miami neighbors, and guests. My name is Eunicia Baker, and I'm the Senior Public Information Officer, and it is my pleasure to share some of our upcoming events, programs, and initiatives with all of you. Wednesday, January 15th at 6 p.m., join us in Mocha Plaza as we salute the work and the vision of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during the annual Candlelight Vigil. This vigil celebrates Dr. King's life through spoken word, song, and dance performances by students from local schools and universities. It is presented by the North Miami University Relations Board. Saturday, January 18th, join Alonzo Mourning for Zoe's Winter Groove, featuring a 5K run at North Miami's Athletic Stadium, which is located at 2555 Northeast 151st Street. The event also features free sports clinics and other activities for the entire family. Registration for the 5K run walk begins at 6:30 a.m. The Family Fun Day starts at 9:30 a.m. For more information, visit www.zoeswintergroove.com. Also on Saturday, let your Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday weekend include a stop at the annual Mac and Cheese Festival, featuring hip-hop icon Dougie Fresh live in concert. That takes place Saturday, January 19th from 2 to 8 p.m. at North Miami's Griffin Park. You don't want to miss the Mac and Cheese Showdown and Bake Off. We'll also be honoring nationally known Chef Teach, and the fun-filled festival will be hosted by Hot 105's Big Lip. Admission is free. Please note that North Miami's administrative offices will be closed Monday, January 20th in observance of Martin Luther King Day. NOMI Fest is back. The 5th annual NOMI Fest will take place at Cagney Park Saturday, February 29th. This year's headliner is CeeLo Green. Chubb Rock returns as this year's host. Tickets are on sale now at www.nomifest.com. Stay up to date with the latest happenings in the city of North Miami by visiting www.northmiamifl.gov. Then click the Connect with NOMI icon on the homepage where you can sign up to receive our monthly e-newsletter. Residents may also like the city of North Miami on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This concludes this evening's announcements.
Thank you very much. Do we have any city project updates?
Not this time, sir.
Any hurricane preparedness?
Hurricane season's over.
Thank you very much. And now let's set the agenda. Mr. Manager, do you have any addition, deletion
Yes, we do,
to
sir.
the agenda?
I have a quick update before you approve tab E in the consent agenda, if you will allow me.
Tab E.
Say again, sir?
No, I was gonna ask, it's funny you mentioned that because I like tab key. I was gonna just ask some questions regarding to pull
Okay.
it out, but go ahead.
Okay. I need to withdraw tab M, and I need to withdraw tab R.
Tab M.
Yes.
Yeah, no, okay.
Tab, oh, okay. R as
And
in
tab R.
Robert.
And tab. We are moving tab R, tab M, and you have clarification on tab E, right?
That's correct, sir.
What's the clarification on E?
Let's set the agenda
Okay.
and now, Mr. City Attorney, I will set the agenda set for tonight.
Yes, Mayor, the agenda is set. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. Can you do your clarification on tab
Yes, sir.
E?
Tab E, we, after the agenda was posted in our consultation with each of the council people, we went back to the landlord and asked that they agree to a fixed rent for the entire 3 years, so there will be no CPI or escalation during the 3-year period. So that essentially saves about just under $4,500 on that contract. So I just want to put that clarification on the record.
Okay.
Can I ask my question, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Per year or for the,
The 3% is per year,
okay, my
It
question.
was for per year, and
Yeah,
now we change it.
yes.
Okay.
My question is real quick. This is budgeted in
Housing,
this year?
Yes.
Or so it was budgeted in the
Yes,
budget
yes.
that we passed?
yes.
Okay, that was my, I don't like the location,
But
because
It's,
everything around the-
it's meant to be
Wait.
temporary.
Okay,
as far as the location, I thought we were looking at another location on Northwest 7, 125th Street.
No,
That's
well,
what I
this,
thought.
we were, but this was a site, in discussion internally, the issue was ensuring that the residents were served in this general central vicinity, and keeping those services located. So we're literally not even a block away, we're just across the street now. And that'll be all the housing and social services, staff that are here, in the pavilion, adjacent to City Hall.
And the previous location, are you going
We're
to?
still, we are still interested in that, but remember that one is associated with the Denmark property.
Oh, is it?
That's when it's gonna be 2 additional lease?
Yeah, well, an additional lease, yes, one additional lease.
Why is that?
Well, remember, and I want to get into.
I understand that, but what's make us change from the previous
The
location?
the issue I just put on the record, that we wanted to make sure that the customer service was being, addressed here.
Can we
centrally.
table this item till the next meeting so we clear on that, please?
Sure.
Tab E,
I'll support that.
okay, just, now, Madam Clerk, can I hear motion on, Madam Clerk, for the consent agenda without tab E, please?
Unless a member of the city council wishes to remove a specific item from the portion of the agenda, tabs A through D and tabs F through J constitute the consent agenda. These resolutions and items are self-explanatory and are not expected to require additional review or discussion. These items will be recorded as individually numbered resolutions adopted unanimously by the following motion: that the consent agenda comprised of tabs A through D and tabs F through J be adopted. Do I have a motion?
Thank you very much. Can I hear motion on the item?
So moved.
Second.
Hmm?
Sir, you need there was never a motion or a second to table item E.
Can I make a motion to table item?
No, okay.
No?
Oh, we can do it in the consent, approve the
No,
consent.
no.
Oh, okay.
I'm
To
saying
take
you,
it out
you're saying to table
Okay.
it completely to next meeting.
Oh,
right? So
okay.
you need to take a vote on that.
You made
Can
the
I hear the
motion?
motion?
I made a motion.
I second the
I make a
motion.
okay.
Okay, just for clarification, we're going to first vote on the consent, which was, the motion was made by Vice Mayor Desilme, and who was the second?
Calvin?
Yes, I'll second it.
No, I thought you
It was
were.
the reverse, actually.
Was it
Without
you?
tab E. Yeah.
You
No.
made-
Without
and-
tab E, that's correct, the way it
Right.
was read. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Now I
No,
need the
tab-
motion
Tab
for,
E is
right.
motion to table tab
To-
E.
Your motion to table, I'll second it.
Can someone make the motion?
Oh, I thought you made the motion. I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion made to table tab E. The motion was made by Vice Mayor Desilmay, seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab K, discussion regarding termination of the city manager. Tab K.
Yes, okay. I thought we have the, wait. I thought tab ONP was gonna come before, okay.
Through the mayor, I'm represented by.
First of all, give me a second.
Okay.
It's gonna be a discussion item. That's when the public won't be able to be heard on the, won't be able, they can talk about the item and at public forum, but it's a discussion item for us tonight. Do you agree with City Attorney?
Mayor, yes, typically when we do discussion items, it's not open to the public. However, normally when you take an action, before you take a vote, you normally would open it to public comment. So if it remains a discussion, nothing, but if there is a vote, then you should open up to public.
Open it to, okay.
If there's a vote, yes, sir.
Okay.
Through the mayor, Mr. Mayor, this is in response to a communication that we've shared. I would like to have my attorney, Joe Goss, be on the record and address the item to you guys.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Joseph Gaz of the Gaz Professional Limited Company, here representing Mr. Spring. My office is at 1900 North Bay Shore Drive, Suite 1A 125 in Miami. That's 33132. We wanted this as an agenda item for tonight in furtherance of the correspondence that I sent on December 31st, 2019. And ultimately, it's to see if the council is so inclined to terminate Mr. Spring without cause, and if so, if the 6 proposals that I made as far as his severance agreement were agreed to, then we would proceed in accordance with the letter. If the 6 items that we proposed are not agreed to in total, then it's going to require further deliberation by my client as to how we would proceed. But if everything were agreed to tonight, then we would be working with the city attorney's office post haste to execute a settlement agreement with mutual releases, and everybody would go their separate ways.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And since I don't know if we may have to make decision or decided on it, and it's look like we have to open it right now to the public in case we had to make decision. Tab K is open to the public.
Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bayshore Drive, North Miami, Florida 33181. How much this is going to cost the taxpayers of the city, because we're going to pay for it out of our taxes. Once again, we've been through so many city managers over the last 20 years. Number 2, who is going to be the interim city manager or acting city manager? Number 3, is this council going to conduct a national search and go outside and find somebody who is qualified like we did in 1973 when we faced a similar crisis? And the citizens' lack of faith in the leadership of this city. We need to do what we did back in 1973. We picked an outsider in Larry Casey to come in here and to clean up the mess back then. I think it's the same thing. We need to repeat the same practice, find the best qualified candidate, even if the candidate is back there as one of the department directors. Get that person in here, give them the free rein under a council manager form of government, and let them move us forward. Because we have some big issues in this city besides plastic bags and straws. If you look up in Fort Lauderdale, we have sewer pipes and water pipes breaking at 90 years old. And it's going to happen here in North Miami. It's already happened in Hollandale Beach. So we need to address this issue. The water and sewer pipes need to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed by the next city manager. Because I can tell you this, I've lived in this city since 2016, and we have not addressed the most major issue, and that's the engine that drives the economic development. Because when the development comes here from Little River, we're going to need to be ready to accommodate the smart growth, high density building.
Just a reminder to have your phones on silent, please.
Good evening, William Simpson, 2005 Alamanda Drive. You, the council, were elected by the public, your constituents. You have a fiduciary responsibility to the public, which means you will act in the best interest of the citizens, not yourselves. You are stewards of the public's money and their trust, all to be done with impartiality, honesty, with complete financial disclosure. Honest public service is performed free of deceit, undue influence, conflict of interest, self-enrichment, self-dealing, concealment, bribery, fraud, and corruption. Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right thing. The next city manager, should Mr. Spring be terminated, should be from the outside, with no allegiance to any of you. This will hopefully put an end to the quid pro quo, family and friends and contract employees, which are unnecessary. Anything less is a harm to the people who elected you. Remember, you are public servants, not self-servants. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open. Public hearing is now.
Please remember there are two podiums, so
Yes,
please
please.
feel free to
We're
line
not
up at
gonna.
both.
Next time we're not gonna wait. No, not you. Sorry. We're not talking about you. Sorry.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street in Sunkist Grove. I first stand here to give God praise, to thank God that that bond issue, which was sponsored by this now manager, who you are voluntarily terminating, was defeated so that our houses were not mortgaged, so that we are now not millions of dollars into debt for 30 years. And he leave here with a solid gold parachute. I want to thank all the voters, all of you, all of us who voted no to the bond. That's why we can stand today and not have an additional $2,000 a year on our taxes. I hope we will continue to stand together for our own benefit. I would like to see a renegotiation or relook at this golden parachute that was discussed in that letter for the severance of this city manager. It is excessive, including a car. I want to see it relooked at and renegotiated. It is certainly not in our interest as citizens of this city to part with the manager with such a package. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
Public hearing still open. I
Kenneth
believe that's
East.
the last one.
Kenneth East, 776 Northeast 125th Street. I'm not going to win any friends here tonight by saying what I'm going to say, but I got to be very truthful. I think Mr. Springer and what I'm hearing from the citizens out there did a great job. Was very professional. I seen the change in the city staff. I seen the change in the city services. I was reading the computer the other day about the 38 accomplishments. You know, government is of the people, by the people, for the people. We want the best executives we can to run it. Folks, I got to tell you, there's a lot of rumors out there. And when I was chief of police, I used to tell the troops, perception is reality. And there's a big perception out there that he's going out the door because, well, number one, Spasnik insurance. Number two, I understand there's the use of vehicles by certain city officials. I'm not here to point fingers. You know, it's up to you. You are the council. We elected you, and we hope you do a good job. But when you take a city manager of his caliber out of office, you destabilize the professionalism within your organization, and it hurts. And for the first time in years, I've seen a professional organization here. We had our ups and downs with prior city managers, what Mr. Springer brought to the table, professionalism in city service and in the employees that he put in position. To have him go out the door is disgraceful. Mr. Springer, government, like I said, works in mysterious ways sometimes. I know what you're going through tonight because I went through this. I've been in government roughly in different organizations almost 50 years or over 50 years. Tomorrow morning when you look in the mirror, whether you're still here or not, you look in that mirror and you be honest with yourself because you served with honor and dedication. You did your level best. It's not the critic who counts, but it was in your heart and what's in your soul. You are a consummate professional, and I want you to know, from my heart to yours, it's been an honor to know you and to work with you. Thank you very much.
Good evening and Happy New Year. My name is Judy Brown, 1100 Northwest 128 Terrace. And I'm coming before you because when I got this information, I was truly disturbed. It's amazing that when we left for the holidays, everybody was pleased with the manager. But within 2 weeks, it's like he did not deliver Christmas toys. And so now, without cause, we want to let him go. I would just like to remind the elected officials that it's the citizen, our city. He has brought us through the hurricane, and there are so many other things, the cleanliness of the city. I am so pleased with that. And other things, we have so many irons in the fire with all of the Sodalea Miami projects, all the projects I've set here, and you all have, you all have approved, and they're about to, break grounds in some of these projects. We need someone to steer the ship. We need a solid captain at the ship. We don't need to work with pettiness. We need to try to think about what's best for our community. We see what went on in Fort Lauderdale over the holidays, which was horrendous. Every day I get an email notification of a sewage pipe here or water break here. We need to really focus on what this city, really what's important to the city, the infrastructure. We continue to ask people to come into our city. We are trying to get, the county is working on Uptown 7th Avenue. My council is working on trying to bring businesses over on 7th Avenue. Things were just selling along. And then we get this bump in the road. If there's a problem, I don't see why it cannot be worked out, negotiated. But you must understand that when you put things in place, and you say, and you've said, I want the manager to do certain things, and I want him to be able to say no. If he says no, you all have agreed him and given that authority. We're trying to move the city forward. We have a deficit. So I'd like to urge you all to please think about the citizens, think about moving the city forward, and try to work together for the betterment of our entire city and citizens. Thank you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Claire. Excuse me. I'm at 1895 Venice Park Drive. The reason we all here, stand, guys. Because we have a problem with.
No, excuse me.
Yes.
And we are discussing an item, a specific item.
Well, you have to let
During
me.
public forum, you will be able to speak about any other subject. Now we are taking And
That's
questions
the
are.
same thing you said when we called. That's the same problem.
No,
with
it's
this.
tab K.
That's
At
that's
the
the
end,
same thing.
please.
That's the only way that I can voice my opinion.
You're gonna
That's
be able
the
to
only way that I
speak.
can see you. That's the only way you can speak to us. That's the only
Whoa.
way you can. That's the only.
I have an
I've
open
called, I
policy
sent
every
email.
Tuesday.
Exactly. You never hear for us.
Okay, talk. You can go ahead.
Are you getting upset because we putting you out there?
Because I have
you're
an
not
open
doing nothing
policy
for
every
us.
Tuesday from 10 to 3.
So
Anybody
you are
without
not-
an
that's
appointment
the
can
only
come
way
and
that
see
we
me.
can voice our opinion and ask for help from you as the mayor of City of Miami. That's the only way.
That's
So,
not-
okay, it's either that we speak to you now or we all get an appointment to see you.
Miss Jacques, your time is running, just so that you know, you only have 3 minutes to speak.
Sir, You can I
Mr.
speak.
Prevotel, thank you
You
very
can
much.
speak.
I
You've only got a minute, 30 seconds left.
What we here, we need your help from the association. We need your help. No one will be able to. No one can help us. Number one, we're at a dead end right now. They're charging us the assessment, and we need help from City of Miami or the mayor or whomever. After
Where
that,
do
we're
you
gonna
live?
lose our home.
Where do you
We're
live?
at 1895 Venice Park Drive.
What district is that?
It's District
It's-
1.
it's-
We exchanged some emails this morning, and I'm looking forward to meeting with you and the other residents to see how we can help.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Public hearing still open on tab K.
Bob Pichon, 13005 Coronado Terrace. I got to agree with Judy. Everything was fine a month ago. We took a break. I have disagreed with the city manager over the years, but disagreements are part of life. What I do think about the city manager is he's a smart guy with a lot of experience in the role. Based upon the letter he sent, it seems like the storm clouds were gathering and the council wanted to go into a different direction. We don't know what that's about. I mean, we've got a guy he's been a steward for the city for a number of years, and he's done a good job. He's worked in everybody's best interest, I think. So my recommendation is to turn down his offer of resignation and keep him around. And if you guys, if there's some reason to get rid of him, tell us. If this is just because he didn't do everything everybody wanted, that's just part of life too. So please, thank you.
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. I'd like to echo the sentiments of former Police Chief Kenny Each and Bob Pichon and Judy Brown. Sentiments of support for the way our city manager has conducted himself, for the insights he's shared, for the appointments he's made, and the general sense of really leading our city and trying to get a more progressive bias to our future, to look into what the potential is for our city and not sit back. And he's spoken to that a number of times and has tried to present to us the reality that we always don't like to face. But in that sense, I think he's been rather good. I do know that not every constituent is happy with everything that goes on at the city. And I do know that there are probably issues with the council at times, with the city manager. But as has been just mentioned, we live in an imperfect system. But I do extend appreciation to both our city manager at this time, our deputy city manager, who I know would be very capable in stepping in, and to our council for their civility in addressing this matter. What I ask at this time is to, rather than sort of force a decision, I'd ask if there was possibly a 3-month moratorium or period to study this issue a little bit further, and if needed, if there was some sort of mediation that could be done, even if it was from constituents. I've professionally arbitrated myself, would be glad to assist as a volunteer. If there's anything we can do to help bring together the sides to work out any rough spots, be glad to do that and hope we can do that, and wish only the best for our city of North Miami and all the people before us there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now public Hearing is now closed. Let me just say clarification before. Yes, sir.
I wanted to make one clarification, Mr. Mayor, and that is that there is no offer of resignation. This is just to see if the council is inclined to terminate Mr. Springer. Just
Yeah.
want to make that clear, given the
Okay,
comment.
thank you very much. And just a clarification, because I heard that before about an official driving a city car. The only person on the dais driving a city car, it's me. It's XD 7074. And I'm entitled to that. Why? Because the pay plan allow me to have $750 for allowance. And I give up the $750 in exchange to drive it, for driving a city car. That's when I don't see any issue about it. It's either or. Either I take the $750 or the city give me a car to drive. And I give up the $750 every month, and I'm driving a city car. I just want to make it clear, and now people are talking about make it seem. And I want to thank Larry Spring. You've been here for about 4 years, and I think Mr. Spring is the city manager because I'm the first one that had the discussion about hiring Larry Spring as the city manager when nobody knows about that. That's when nobody here is telling me who is Larry Spring. And I think I know Larry better than everyone here. And even before he was the city manager, from being a consultant for the city, being a finance director for the city, to today a city manager. I don't think now if people want to throw a car and this and that, it's not going to work. Thank you. And now let's bring it to the dais. Do we start? You want to start? No? Who want to start? Carol, you-
That's not my doing, so I want to hear
Okay.
what you all have
Go
to
ahead.
say.
Go ahead.
Sure, I do not want to see Mr. Spring go. He knows this.
Okay.
I respect if the rest of the council or some others on the council want to go in a new direction. Sometimes that happens in politics and government life. But Larry, I've sat up here for a lot of years, been with a lot of different managers. You are by far the best we've had in decades. Meetings run quite smoothly. They don't go on for hours. It used to be that 2 a.m. meetings were the norm in this building. You have modernized our utility billing. You've shepherded us through the Solomia negotiations. I could go on and on. I really, really appreciate everything you've done for this city for the last several years. We will be hard pressed to replace you in any way, shape, or form. And if it is the choice of the council to go in a different direction, I wish you nothing but love and support.
Well, Mr. Manager, I think, and I'm saying this, which I told you this privately along with the city attorney when we meet at our weekly meeting. And I just want everyone to listen to these words because there's a lot of things that are out there. A lot of rumors, a lot of he said, she said. Unfortunately, not all of us folks out there would give the benefit of a doubt. You know, they would question some council motive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, you and I, Mr. Manager, had our last discussion privately, meaning with the attorney and yourself before Thanksgiving. You and I were supposed to meet in between that, but I had personal family situations, so it's always back and forth where we text, we didn't change. The next time I spoke to you was on December 10th at the meeting here publicly, and we didn't talk anything in reference to anything. And after that, I did receive a letter on the 31st, along with the council folks, So in between then, I spoke to you again last week on Tuesday for the first time. Since since I guess November and since Thanksgiving, we spoke with the attorney privately, when I say privately, regarding the city matter on January 7th. In between that time frame, I think you and I exchanged texts like twice regarding a resident's complaint. And that's the end of that, and I received the letter, and then we had our meeting on the 7th, and you and I, we spoke a couple of times today. That's the end of my conversation with the attorney, with the manager, as well as the attorney. However, what I could say about Mr. Spring is that professionally, if I stand here, I said there was one thing or another that he did not deliver on policy-wise, I would be lying, because that's not what he did. And Scott and everyone knows he's competent. He does what he does. Him and I, we have disagreement administratively, which I will have with any manager. You know, and I think somebody mentioned it. That's just what we do, and that's his purview as the city manager to make some decisions. I like them and I don't, and if I don't, I do have that conversation with him. And it has never happened to be something major, whatever that folks assumed, or people putting their time frame, or what people have done. I only would say one thing. I do wish you the best of luck, as competent as you have again, and I'm gonna say it. And I hope folks out there listen to the time frame, so when you are making your rumors or getting things, get the facts right before you go out there and make assumptions. In reference to that, I don't particularly have any objection to your package that I received, which I discussed with the attorney on the 7th when I met without Mr. Spring, and then had a discussion again, except for one objection, but I must see how the council goes about that before I even talked about that. Best of luck. Whatever you decide to do, Mr. Manager, you know, and I've known you for a long time, and that's the end of my story. Thank you.
And nothing. And just a quick question, Larry. You request that we let you drive the car that you have, right? It's a car that was allowed to you before.
It's a car assigned to our office, yes, sir. The city manager's office.
Okay, it was assigned to you. Okay, you want to keep that car?
Yes, sir.
And
I'm gonna defer questions.
yeah. I just wanna. Yes.
No, if there is a question regarding the
Do you
vehicle
know
or anything.
do you know the actual value or whatever it is? It was a car that you've been using, or
It's fairly new to to our fleet, but it's roughly valued around $45,000.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, that's my only, objection, seriously, and it has nothing to do with the manager per se. I just don't want us to go down of starting over. That's my mainly.
That's the only
thing. I don't know anything.
disagreement that I may have is the car, because I thought you had the car for while you were here, and now you're leaving. You would like to have the car, but I didn't. That's the only objection. Besides that, I'm okay with that. I don't know. Yes, sir.
The only thing I would say is that the car was an important inclusion for us as far as in exchange for a release. That's why the car was included. And as we mentioned, if everything's not approved, then we're probably I'll be sitting down with Mr. Spring and we'll be considering our next move. We're just here, if everything's approved, then we move forward very expeditiously, and I anticipate that we could probably get settlement and release signed immediately, being maybe tomorrow.
No, the only thing we're discussing now is the car. Just
Okay.
that. After that, everything is fine with me.
Mr. Mayor?
And we can, yes, go ahead.
Yes. May I address the city attorney? Mr. City Attorney, if there's not an agreement tonight, what are the repercussions? What are some of the actions that can be taken, or
Well,
if there's not an agreement on the items that the city manager is requesting?
Well, there's a couple of things. So, yeah, obviously, you could just agree not to terminate the manager tonight, and things would continue. The other option, obviously, is you could decide to terminate the manager tonight. In that case, then the code provisions take into place. The code requires that within 20 to 30 days, I'm trying to pull it, after the council takes a vote on terminating the manager, we'd have to come back with a written document explaining what the causes are of terminating the manager. Following that, he gets another 3 calendar months for us to have a hearing. So there's a whole procedure set out within the code. So in my view, and you know, he's obviously here, he's represented by counsel. Basically, what you're getting in exchange for $50,000, which is in the form of vehicle, is instead of going the next 12 weeks of back and forth with the manager, he's getting what he's required to get under the code and under his contract. And in addition, you're paying him an extra $50,000 for him to simply tomorrow leave his office and be done with it. So that's what you're getting in exchange for the vehicle.
I have a question for you, Mr.
What do we have in exchange?
The question was what happens next. So my answer is you could either vote not to terminate or take no vote tonight and we continue. If you take a vote tonight to terminate the manager, the code requires that in 30 days we come back with a written document. After that, there's a hearing. There's 90 days of hearing that 90 days that he's allowed to remain at the city and be paid during that 90-day period, and then there's a hearing before you to determine why exactly you're terminating him. So in exchange for not going through that process, my understanding is Mr. Spring, through his attorney, is saying, in exchange for not going through that 12 to 16-week period, I will just leave. And in exchange for that, he's asking for a vehicle. Again, I'm not, his counsel could say it better than I can, but I'm just responding to the councilwoman's
I have a question for Mr. Joseph?
Yes, Joseph Goss.
Joseph, yes. So are you saying that if the vehicle is not a part of the agreement, that you will not sign the release? Is that what you're saying?
I'd have to discuss it with my client, but as far as what we were prepared to agree to tonight, it was based on everything being approved. So we'd have to discuss whatever our next step would be if all 6 items are not approved. And if that's invoking, I believe it's Section 18 of the city charter and going through those procedures, so be it. And if he were to be terminated without the approval of the 6 items, I know that the council, and I don't know if you would be so inclined to do so, but you would have the authority to suspend him with pay, which brings up basically the 12 weeks of pay that's referred to in the list of in the proposals that I sent. So we could end up going down that path. Either way, there's a lot more procedures involved if we're going down that path, if he's terminated without everything agreed to here. If everything's agreed to, then everything can be done, I believe, probably by tomorrow. I have exchanged a draft of a settlement and release with the city attorney's office. It's certainly not finalized because we didn't know what would become of the items on the proposed list that I sent. But that's where it stands now. Either if everything's approved, this will gladly waive our right to any further proceedings of any kind and move on. If everything's not approved, I'll discuss with Mr. Spring how we're going to proceed. Presumably, we would do something just to make sure that he captures the 12 weeks referred to in the city charter.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I'm a little bit unclear. We all love the manager. I will say my story. I think Mr. Spring is the best manager the city has had in many, many, many years, more than a dozen years. He's been the best. For the first time, we have developers coming to the city to do and invest in our city. He's brought development, economic development, experience. He has brought, if you look, for those of you who have not looked at his accomplishments, they are amazing. So, you know, I appreciate everything that's been done. I echo Councilman Galvin. If we are going to be terminating the manager this evening, then I am in full agreement with the package that's been offered. I think it's fair. You laid out a very good synopsis of what he's entitled to, and really I don't think there's that much fluff in it, and I think he's entitled to it. I don't hear any reasons, you know, it's just all conjecture. There was some scuttle, you know, at the last meeting in December. I was like caught off guard. I didn't understand what was going on. I'm a little naive. But it appears that our council wants to go in a different direction. I don't know why. I'm not really hearing it. Oh, yes, you're good. So I don't understand what's going on. So my next question is, can we vote in two parcels? One is termination, and then one agreeing on the termination package. And two, if Mr. Attorney, through the mayor, if we go ahead and take our vote, when do we get to discuss how we go forward?
After the vote. Listen,
After the
we are here to
do we
hire or
still-
fire a city manager.
Okay,
This
so
is
do
our
we still have
job.
the discussion as to how we go forward in hiring the next city manager and the interim manager? Will that
It's
be
based
what-
on, it's based on how the result
mean, I don't
is,
wanna
how the
vote and then-
proposal, yeah.
I don't want to vote and then go to tab L. We have more to discuss if that
What
happens.
Mr.
No,
Mayor, I think it's clear that the majority of the council would like to go in a new direction, and like I said at the top of my comments, I
Yeah.
get that, I understand that, that is our will and our prerogative. I would hate to see us, the process of
That's what
hiring.
we go.
Yeah, the process of hiring a new manager will take time and slow things down as it is. If we're simultaneously fighting over a $40,000
No, we're not
car-
fighting. We're just
Yeah.
asking question. Now, it's not
Right,
like, it's not like we are fighting. It's,
Right, I don't wanna see Larry go, but if it's gotta be, give him the
Yeah.
car and let's.
I'm just not
Okay.
hearing anything. I mean, everybody's being very
We'll-
wishy-washy up here.
we'll-
I can't tell, do people to the left of me want to go in a different direction?
And-
Nobody's saying that.
and I think,
Well,
I
No,
would-
let me say something, because you mentioned something very, you made two statements, Councilwoman Keys. The first statement you made, that people are going washy-washy. I just spoke as far as my conversation with the manager, so I don't know if you heard my timeline.
listening.
Okay, so what part of that was it not clear?
so-
I never, Councilwoman, please, I never had any discussion with the manager, and I believe you would think, I don't think if you would think that of me, but you would think he's an honorable man. I just sat here and told you the timeline. Him and I, we spoke before Thanksgiving. You said, you made a reference into something about a council meeting, and I watched the meeting because I heard it in reference to December. There was nothing unusual that I've seen or that have not been, you know, as far as concerned, whatever. After whatever exchange, I did not speak to the manager until January 7th. So again, some folks like to make assumptions, or they like to proceed. Folks, for whatever reasons, they may say whatever the case is. I received a letter from the manager, from the manager's attorney on the 31st. So just like you got it, that's when I got it. I did not have any discussion with him, or him leaving, or him not leaving, or him unhappy, because we never had that discussions. Him and I, we had other discussions, et cetera, moving forward. So if you are making, I'm just saying, I repeated the timeline, and I will continue to repeat that timeline. I'm not saying for you to believe it or not believe it. The manager here, so that's a different thing. The manager gave a proposal. I had a discussion with the attorney on the 7th regarding his proposal, and then I spoke to the manager regarding other stuff today. So the manager and I, between Thanksgiving and after the New Year, the same letter that you received, that's what I received. So folks making all type of assumption, like folks on the left or you say to your right.
I'm not making an
Well,
assumption. I'm just unclear. I'm trying to find out.
Okay.
What is it that you're
and-
unclear?
And,
He's still-
Councilman,
Okay.
you have the floor. Okay, it's simple, and we're growing up people. We are here to do, one of our duty is to fire a city manager, is to hire or fire a city attorney. We don't have to make excuses. Whether we speak with the city manager, we ask him to resign, whether it is our duty. I don't see why people are saying you don't know. I'm the manager. I'm the mayor of the city, right? I can hire, I can fire a city manager. Period. Whether I spoke 2 years ago, yesterday, or the day before, it doesn't matter. If you feel like you don't want to vote to fire the manager, you like him, it's fine. But if someone want to do so, there's nothing unusual. Okay, there's nothing unusual. That's our job. And can I hear a motion on, the only thing I would like to, if Mr. Spring accept it, it's to go ahead and execute the item with all the 6 items on it, and making sure that if Mr. Spring is pleased, that he leave January 31st, 2020. That's the only thing. A motion to approve it with that.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Can you
I
make
just
a
want to be clear. Motion to approve tab K is presented, which would include the car.
Everything,
With the
the way it's
caveat.
presenting, and that must me, and the city manager leave January 31st, 2020.
Okay, thank you.
At the end of the month. So we have 2 weeks window to decide it. Can someone make the motion, and I second the motion?
Not with the car. That's my biggest thing, and I'm gonna say it again. I do not want to set a precedent as far as with that.
Okay,
So
if
I
you don't
would-
want, you don't want
yeah.
to make, you're not comfortable on making
No.
the motion.
As much as
Can-
it pains me, I will second the motion.
Thank you very much.
We have a motion made by Vice Mayor Desilme.
No, you don't.
So who's
No.
second?
I make the
Mayor.
motion and, okay.
By Mayor Bienemé, the motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin.
What was the mayor's motion, with or without?
It's everything
With the car,
except that
tab
he
K
leaves.
With the car, January 31st.
2020.
Turn off the lights.
Councilwoman Estimate Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
It's not a.
Just,
Yeah, we
All
can,
in
you can do
favor?
that. Can you?
Would you like to
Can
do a
you
roll
put it
call?
on record, please? Thank you, yeah.
Councilwoman Estimate Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Bienemé, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Desilme, how do you vote?
No.
Councilwoman Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Item passes 4-1.
Thank you very much, and now you, okay, that's, okay. You wanna make any statement, anything now?
I will at the end of the meeting, sir.
Huh?
I will at the end of the meeting.
Oh, okay. Next item,
Tab-
Excuse me, when do we have a discussion of,
it's January 31st, 2020. We
Why-
have another council meeting.
if we know that we are not going to have a full-time manager after January 31st, should we not start our search? Should we not have a discussion about how we are going, this actually gives us time to start looking,
Doing reports, that's when we're gonna come up with that.
Okay. That's why I asked the question before.
Yes, Madam Clerk, next.
Tab L, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager to issue purchase orders to Software House International, Inc. in the aggregate amount not to exceed $130,000 for the purchase of computer hardware, software, and computer peripherals, utilizing the cooperative purchasing provision pursuant to Section 7-169 of the City Code on a contract awarded through the Interlocal Purchasing System Request for Proposals Number 161202, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab L.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. For the record, Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you under Tab L is simply staff's request for your approval to issue purchase orders to the firm Software House International Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $130,000 for the city's purchase of computer hardware, software, and other peripheral equipment. As reflected in the council report that's submitted in support of the item, the recommended purchase of this software and equipment will be accomplished through the National Cooperative Program known as the Interlocal Purchasing System. Membership in this national cooperative is available to any government agency, educational institution, and/or nonprofit organizations, and offers significant cost savings opportunities that are procured through its over 3,000 pre-qualified vendors. This type of cooperative program enables its members to procure low prices for the goods and services other than any single member agency could accomplish by simply leveraging their significantly greater volume purchasing power. As a result, staff recommends your approval of this item. Here with me in support of the item is the city's Director of Information Technology, Mr. Ricardo Castillo. In the event that you have any questions regarding the operational needs for this particular item. This concludes my presentation, and if you have any questions, we'll be glad to take them.
Public hearing is open on tab L. Public hearing is now closed. Can I have your
Motion to
motion?
approve.
Second.
Second.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, sorry.
No, you second. Madam Clerk.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Keys to approve the item at tab L. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estime Irvin. Would we like to wait for Councilman Desame to return?
No,
As we have to
no,
wait.
no, go ahead. We have quorum.
Okay.
You have to.
But there's a duty to vote.
Yeah,
That's
you,
fine.
Okay.
after that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 4 vote.
Thank you.
Next.
Tab N, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving a public purpose conveyance from the Florida Department of Transportation, FDOT, of 3 parcels of land located at 575 Northwest 125th Street, 591 Northwest 125th Street, and 595 Northwest 125th Street for the public purpose of providing recreational amenities for public use, authorizing the city manager to take all necessary steps and execute all necessary documents to implement the terms and conditions of the conveyance of the parcels, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab N.
Yes. Sir.
Good evening, Whistler Pierre Lewis, Public Works Director. I'll read the background information into the record. Per a letter dated September 6, 2019 from Mayor Biename, the city of North Miami requested the transfer of property owned by the FDOT on Northwest 125th Street near I-95. These properties were acquired by FDOT in order to install a dedicated right turn lane on westbound Northwest 125th Street, providing access to northbound I-95 as part of their project. The properties had been used as a staging area for the project, which has been completed. The properties requested are 575, 591, and 595 Northwest 125th Street. All are within City of North Miami limits. The properties will be used for public purposes only. Included in the council report is a location map and the letter from the mayor. That concludes my report.
Okay. Public hearing is open on the item.
Veronica Guzman, 540 Northwest 127th Street. Is there a idea of what these properties are going to be used for? I literally live 2 blocks away.
That's a public, it's gonna be a recreational.
Recreational as in how? Like park or, that's
What?
a dangerous corner.
If you,
Well, okay,
Mayor?
you wanna address that?
if you
Yeah.
allow me, it will be a passive park area. So we're not expecting to have a top lot
Parking,
or
Okay.
anything
no
like that.
parking, no
Okay.
nothing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there will be no parking. And it's in your district.
Yes, actually, Ms. Guzman, we have exchanged emails, I think. Is it you? Oh, okay, probably someone else. But I did, Mr. Manager, is this the item that I think Mr. Whistler was supposed to take me and show me? Was that supposed to be that?
No, No. These are the
This is
three
the
lots at 125th. He was gonna take you to the location on 140th
So this is 125th and
Right.
where?
and basically
You
Fifth
see
Avenue.
95.
You see
Yeah, right.
all the five properties
Those
that
three
the-
empty lots to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
north side of.
by Ms. Cobos. No?
I don't.
No, Ms. Cobos?
On
That's what I'm
the-
saying.
on
Is
the
that
no-
Cobos?
The Department of Transportation acquired
Across
those
from-
five.
okay.
Those
Yeah.
five, and now. and-
Yeah, that's Ms.
yeah.
Cobo,
Okay,
on the
yeah.
other corner.
And we asked the
125th.
Department
I'm
of
fine with it.
Transportation to
That's-
turn it over to us, and.
Okay, I did ask for a visit,
Okay.
but okay, I'm fine.
Okay. Public hearing is open on the item, and public hearing is now closed. Can I hear a motion on the item?
I mean, so
Motion
moved.
to approve.
Second.
Second. Can we go fast? You gotta go.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab N. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab O, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the 7th Amendment to the lease agreement between the city of North Miami and Olita Partners, Inc., authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute the amendment, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab O.
Yes. Do you have present?
Well, I wanted to just put something quickly on the record from my staff report, sir.
Mhm.
This, as you all know, the Seventh Amendment negotiation is in response to a couple of, I guess I'm gonna refer to them as minor default issues that we needed to address with regards to the Seventh Amendment, particularly the issue of the conveyance of the passive park areas that were already in the existing lease, addressing the status and go-forward plan with the LPO requirements that are in the lease. And as such, the city, and also to also address a request that was made, I guess, through the council from Councilman Galvin with regards to erecting a community center on the active park area that will be turned over by the developer. The city met with the developers, we negotiated, and through our briefings, we've explained to everyone what those, where we have, I guess, arrived with regards to those items. Very quickly, though, I wanted to make sure I put on the record with regards to the LPO requirement being removed in the, I believe, the online version. It's still, in exchange for the $2 million payment, there was a portion that was supposed to be turned over to the city for our own affordable housing initiatives, and then there was a portion, actually in the one that's actually
It's not
online.
best that we discuss whatever
Yeah,
is
I
posted
will.
online,
Yeah.
and then we will do
Right,
the
right.
amendment
So,
after.
so I just wanted to make it clear that the reference to the youth program, youth hiring program, should be referenced to the city's program and not the program that the developer.
No, we're gonna,
right. But I know there's some other items that they want to address, but
Yeah,
I'll yield
but
to the
when it comes
the
to
developer.
those, it's us
Yeah,
to
with you
decide
guys.
it, what we wanna do with
Absolutely,
that
sir.
when we get it. Yes.
Evan Ross on behalf of Olita Partners, better known as Sole Mia. I'm here with Camille Douglas, Senior Managing Director for
Can you
LaFrac.
say your address on the
And,
paper?
I'm sorry, 17301 Biscayne Boulevard, North Miami Beach. Here with Camille Douglas, Senior Managing Director from LaFrac, and Danny Salas, who is General Counsel for Sole Mia. We're not going to take a lot of time with the presentation. We're here to answer any questions, address anything that any of the council members need from us, and with that, I'll turn it back over.
Thank you very much, and now we're gonna open it to the public. Public hearing is, what tab we are?
Okay.
No, no.
Tab O.
Public hearing is open on tab O. Public hearing is open on tab O. Public hearing is now closed on tab O. And now, members of the dais. Councilman Galvin, do you want to say?
Sure. No, I just have a question regarding, obviously regarding the timeline for construction of the new community center.
It is, I'm go into it right now.
180
It's 100
days
days from-
following the city council approval of the
Of the
funding
budget.
for the community center.
Yeah.
So, in regular person's language, when would that be?
Whenever you decided here.
Right. So,
If we say that tomorrow is gonna be after the closing,
Right, so
after the closing, 180 days after our approval.
okay, so if
Of,
we,
of the budget for the project.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
approval
yeah,
of the
yeah,
budget,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So if this whole agreement closes in 45 days, we would still need to approve a budget after that?
Yes.
Yes, you would.
And who would drive when that budget would come before us?
You guys.
The administration
You
gonna
would
ask.
direct, I mean, if you want.
That's
as
when you're gonna
approval-
negotiate the price, the construction,
Right,
what
right,
you
right.
wanna see, and after that, we approve it, 180 days after that, they have to start.
If you want to take the suggestion through the mayor, to just give us the administration the directive now, you know, after closing to, start working with you all to develop a.
Yeah,
project
that's
budget.
what it, no, to start negotiation. No, right after the closing, since it's a part of the agreement, that's when you gotta engage in discussion about the cost and
And how we're
how
gonna
it
do
will
it.
be, the design, everything.
Right.
And then we're gonna approve the amount, and then they have 180 days to start the project.
Right, no, I'm cool if we're allowed to sort of start talking about that now while we
Oh,
close.
yeah,
Close
yeah.
in 45 days, and hopefully by then we know, and construction can start in 205 days
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
25 days.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
all right, thank you, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
Councilman.
we, Mr. Attorney, we just had a few little minor tweaks, like releases.
Mr. Attorney, can you please come forward?
Like releases of deed.
Oh, you're talking about the
I mean,
city
release
or?
of lease.
Yeah.
No, our attorney.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, sorry,
So-
sorry.
So I'm trusting that all.
Yeah,
that's
I just
been
spoke to
ironed
the
out.
attorney, excuse me. I spoke to the attorney earlier, and told him there were some minor technicalities that we have to take care of.
Okay.
Then none of them are major amendments.
How much, what's the total we're gonna be getting on this? We're gonna be getting 2.7 plus the 8, so we're getting 10.7?
No,
Is that-
you're mixing the items. This is
Okay.
the lease
This
amendment.
is the lease.
So this
This
is
is just the lease amendment. The only thing, the funding associated with this item is the
The
2 million, contribution in replacement of the
Yeah.
LPO requirement, and.
The option to buy the 20,
That's
No,
the
no, no,
second
that's
no,
item.
the
next.
community
That's-
center.
And the community center. That's
Yes.
it. That's all that's here.
Okay, so this 2 million we're getting goes.
and also
in-
the rent
So
participation.
what we're talking about in this item is just the
That's in
2
the next
million
item also.
that's going towards affordable housing?
Yes.
Okay, so did we, again, you were talking about budget, but we have to, do we include this income in our budget?
No.
Or is this needs a
No.
budget amendment to include this?
This was not included in our budget, so you will have eventually.
They're gonna have to do the adjustment because some of the money is a part of our budget anyway.
Okay.
Um,
I'm gonna ask the same
None of
question.
this,
for
none of these proceeds are in our budget.
These are new revenue.
But when you're gonna come to the rent participation, at least we will.
That's the
That's a
next
different
item.
item.
That's the next
Okay.
item.
Oh,
Okay.
Mr.
Go ahead. No, Councilwoman, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, may I? So my,
it's
what
not
I,
Mr. Spring, you asked me.
anyway, Evan Ross, what I would like to see is, I know that for the LPO, the 2 million that is going to be it's going to be transferred over for the affordable housing or whatever it is that we decide to do. That is over a period of 5 years. I'd like to see that that is provided immediately, well, during closing with the other, that's my, I guess, my request or my
request.
friendly amendment.
Mr.
Yeah, we're
Mayor,
gonna
if I
come
may.
with the amendment, late. No, now we are
Well,
doing
this is it.
discussion.
Well, it's
And
hard
after
to-
that,
Right, so what it is as it is right now, is that it would be, these funding would be spread out over 5 years. And as we all, most of us, have campaigned on affordable housing, I think for the things that we're trying to achieve, a 5-year period would not necessarily help us in the way that we're trying to be aggressive about addressing those issues. So I'd like to see that the 5 years be expedited to our closing.
Okay, are we done? Okay. Councilman Desalegn.
No, go ahead.
No, we're gonna come with a
Oh,
single
I don't,
amendment.
this is
and-
the lease agreement, so I don't have any questions. I think it's the residential parcel, so I'm.
Okay,
really
you
so-
okay for the lease agreement?
Yeah, she has one.
Yeah, we're gonna
one
do
over
that.
there, okay.
Okay. In the lease agreement, and we're going to shut down the LPO, and which was the community action plan in that lease agreement, and in exchange to $2 million. But in your proposal, you said 5 years, and I think I talked to you guys too, and we agree on 3 years.
Yes, that's correct. We're willing to make that adjustment if you want to make an amendment to the item to pay that money over 3 years rather than 5 years.
That means it's gonna be 3 years, 3 version.
Correct. The first payment would be made at closing, and.
That represent 33% of.
Right, each payment would be equal, the first payment made at closing, and then
The
future
second payment
payments.
at the beginning of the next fiscal year.
Can I clarify something,
That's
Mr.
my
Mayor?
proposal. Go ahead.
You guys keep referring to a closing. The closing is not associated with this item. It's associated with the next. I understand the timing, but
I
you need to
understand,
clarify.
but the money, when the money should be.
Associated with the
So-
closing of the next item.
Correct.
Yes,
The
yeah.
next item has a closing date associated with it.
Yeah.
The first payment would be made, then the additional payments would be made within the first quarter of each year for the following 2 years.
Okay. And the Joe Celestin, you clear on it. Isn't it?
I'm sorry, Mayor, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Can you state again, when are the other two payments?
The first payment made at closing based on the item to follow. The future payments would be made during the first quarter of each year for the following 2 years.
First quarter calendar year.
Correct.
Thank you.
Fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
Fiscal year, not calendar year,
Our
fiscal year.
fiscal.
First quarter of fiscal year.
That's fine.
Okay. That's mean October 2nd, 2020.
Okay, so to be clear, we're going to get a payment at closing, which will take place in 45 days.
Yeah.
And then we can expect another payment at the end of this year.
Yes.
Okay, so there'll be two payments received
Within,
this year.
Yeah.
within the
Yeah.
first quarter of the fiscal year.
Fiscal year, okay. And can I hear a motion on the lease agreement with the amendment?
So moved.
Madam
Second.
Clerk, are you there?
Madam Clerk is here.
No, if you're okay
Yes.
with what we,
I have
3
a-
years and,
Yes.
okay.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab O with the amendments as stated on the record. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab P, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving an amendment to that certain agreement regarding residential parcel dated February 13, 2015, between the city of North Miami and Alita Partners, Inc., authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute the amendment, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Tab P.
Again, we're here to answer any questions, address any issues, but we don't feel the need to make a presentation.
Okay, yeah, you wanna say something? No? Huh?
Well,
Can you, for the public, can
Yes,
you
that's
just
what I was gonna,
a
just
quick
put on the
overview?
record so that, for the public's, edification. This item is the first amendment to the residential parcel agreement that was entered into, back in 2015 with Alita Partners in the city. That agreement called for the tenant to have an option to purchase 75 acres at a prescribed dollar amount so that they could construct residential buildings within the development area. At this time, well, the tenant is exercising their remaining 20, which is not an issue associated with this item. However, the item prescribes that the tenant now absolutely close in 60 days. That's what's in the item that's presented. In addition, the tenant requested that we allow them to forward pay any potential future participation rent, and I say potential because it's based on them actually constructing in this area. We worked on a present value calculation of what that estimate would be based on a mix of condominiums and rental units, and came up with a number of $2.7 million. And finally, the tenant has requested the ability to swap 4.5 acres from the existing residential area into another area within the development as a, I guess, commercial means of being able to develop mixed-use residential in that commercial area. The tenant has agreed to pay for the first 6 months of that option, $25,000 per acre for the option, and beyond 6 months, up to 1 year, $50,000 per acre. That is the item that is before you.
And not yet. Wait, give me a quick question. Can you verify the previous sale and to making sure it was, because you're talking about 75. I don't remember it was 55 acres last time. If it's verified that it's 55, it's not less than that. So
Right.
it's got to be more than 20.
No, it's 20. It is verified.
If I'm not mistaken, it was 54 point something.
It was approximately 55 acres. I don't believe it was exactly 55 acres. This is
54
an
point,
additional
that's
20.
when
Yeah.
20 point whatever it is to make it 75.
You're correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
Right, those numbers are rounded.
Okay. And go ahead.
Councilman Galvin, no?
No question,
Okay,
sir, no.
quick question, no, because this is his district. Quick question, Mr. Manager, in addition to what we have, because I do have the memo, you guys agreed to help out the senior foundation, the North Miami senior program as well. Just want to put that on the record. Is that,
I'm not related to this item. I know we've had some discussions
which
about.
item is it?
Well, not related to any specific item. I know we've had some discussions about things that are priority for everyone's constituents. As you know, we have a long track record of supporting city events, community organizations. I know we've had conversations specifically about the seniors and looking at ways that we can be helpful to the senior programming in the city and, you know, those kinds of initiatives. We certainly want to be helpful, but I don't want to create confusion that that's related to any specific item that you're voting on.
Gotcha.
No comment. I already made my comments previously.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's when tonight we're doing the swap. Let me ask you a question. And the second.
Oh, I'm
Go
so
ahead.
sorry, Mr.
Yes, go
Mayor.
ahead.
I do have a question. In regards to the swap, I know you have up until 1 year. When do you intend on actually exercising it on?
We don't know exactly when we'll exercise it. The reason we needed that year period is we're constantly working to master plan the site to make sure that we're keeping up with market trends and developing what makes the most sense. So that year gives us enough time to be able to continue master planning and figuring out exactly what it is that makes the most sense to be able to execute that option on the swap.
And
Go ahead, Mr.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry, I just also want to highlight, so, and if the option is not utilized within a year, there are no more options, right? I just want to make that clear.
That's correct.
Because we are, I just want to make sure.
My quick question, if this particular item, so the item that will be coming back is after the first item related to that one, correct? That, once the budget, which is previous to the first item.
Yeah, you'll be bringing back I guess a project development budget that will be brought for full consideration before the board.
What happened?
He's asking about the budget.
The budget related to the project. That's
What
all.
project?
Sorry, from.
Oh, for the community center. Oh, okay. Yes.
Just the same question, how much did we include in our budget for this transaction? We had a big discussion on it, so it is coming to fruition, which is good.
Wisely, we did not budget for this item.
We took it out?
Yes, we did.
Oh, okay. So we have a budget amendment and a discussion as to what we do with the money.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
The money is just gonna go as a surplus, whatever okay. It doesn't have to come as a budget amendment.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
We just spend it, or we get?
What do you mean we just spend it?
Okay.
We're making the deal tonight, we'll figure out how to spend the money later.
Yeah, that's what it. And a question, Mr. Manager, and first of all, instead of 60 days, I would propose 45 days for closing. If not closed by within 45 days, you have to come back and you agree with that plan, right?
Yes.
Yes. That's mean, Madam Clerk, oh, Madam Clerk, everywhere you see 60 days is gonna be 45 days. As I meant, no?
We'll take care of that, sir.
You will take care of that?
That's part of that's part of
Okay, the
agreement.
second, okay. And let me ask you a question. The rent participation, the 2.7, how did you calculate that number?
So, working with the developers, finance folks, we took a look at a development projection plan for the next, it was like 30 years. And there's a mix, I want to say, it turned out to be like 60-40, was it rental to condo? Yeah, 60-40 rental versus 40% condo, and the calculation of participation rent based on the delivery of those units over time. And I think it averaged about 200 units, delivery of 200 units a year for the next, 20, 30 years. So that's how we calculated it. And then we put a discount rate that I would say we argued over quite a bit, that ended up in this number. And if you want, I can share, actually, I can share that spreadsheet with you so you can see the mix.
Okay, understand that the participation rent that we are doing now is only on the 75 acres.
That is correct.
Not on the rest of the.
Correct.
And so I'm clear, that's why I said future potential, because to the extent they don't build building X by a certain date or building Y by a certain date, the timing of that money would get extended.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That's in whatever it is it within the 75 acres?
Correct,
That's
correct,
the first
sir.
thing. And secondly, the swap. Can I be clear on that? What exactly we're doing, the 4.5 acres you wanna swap?
What the swap does, it simply allows us to swap out 4.5 acres that's under the
From
current
that
plan.
75
Correct.
to any other space?
Almost any other space on the site.
Okay.
Yes.
Except for
yeah, I know
the
Biscayne
front
Landing
parcel
and
at
then
154.
Right,
That
that's why I
is
said almost
excluded.
any.
Okay.
Yeah, it allows us to swap for almost any acreage on the site.
The 4.5 is going to be residential only? Or can it be-
That's where I talked about the master planning. We don't know exactly what it will be yet. There are a number of different options, and we want to make sure we have the flexibility to build whatever makes the most sense on that site. So, for
Within
example,
what?
we've talked about mixed-use development.
Within how long?
I'm sorry, is your question?
Within how long to use, those 4.5?
We have 1 year to exercise the
the
option
swap.
to do the swap, right.
Okay.
Beyond that, what our actual building timeline is, I couldn't speak to. It's still to be determined.
And Mr. City Manager, in the event they don't swap within a year, what happens?
Nothing. There is no option. They would have to come back to the board for any.
That's when you went back to
request. Yeah,
the
it would- yeah.
previous lease
Right.
agreement. Okay. And here's another section 2.
Oh my God.
The mayor and the city council of the city of North Miami hereby authorize the city manager and the city attorney to do all things necessary, whatever it is, and in regards to the agreement, in accordance with the direction provided to city administration. But I don't like the language where you say without the necessary or further action by the mayor and the city council.
What are you reading?
Section 2, authorization of city manager and city attorney.
What is this?
The list, the residential parcel agreement amendment, just the last. Yeah,
He's referring to the actual resolution itself.
yeah. Are we comfortable with that? That's mean if the agreement is the way it is, completely the way it is, you don't have to bring it before us. If there is any change. But the way you said without, I give you direction, if there is any change.
Any changes that are agreed to tonight will be included in the agreement, and we'd move forward to the closing.
I understand that. But if there is any change, you're gonna bring it before us.
There shouldn't be any changes after this, but if there are any changes, we'd come back.
Okay, no, it's because you said without the necessary or further action.
Well, this
by me.
assumes that after tonight, all the discussions.
All
made and we
discussion
know
are
what
made
we're
and
doing we're
everything
gonna move
is
forward.
the
Yes,
way
sir.
it's stated, okay. But if it's, let's say it's beyond 45 days, you're gonna have to bring it before us, right?
That wouldn't be in accordance with whatever agreement that
Okay,
we signed,
okay,
so we'd have to come
okay.
back.
Okay, I'm clear. Can I hear a motion on the item?
So moved.
Second.
Public we didn't open public hearing.
You didn't on this one.
I'll
sorry,
withdraw
sorry.
my motion so that
Sorry.
we can have.
Public hearing is open on the residential parcel agreement amendment, is tab B. Sorry.
My first, Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bay Shore Drive. I understand we're obligated to execute this agreement under the original lease that we
We're
had.
not. The only thing is the 20 acres we're obligated.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. They had an option to buy that. That's what I
Yes,
understood, Mr.
yes.
Mayor. My only contention is this, is that the money that we're getting from this gets earmarked to the Parks and Recreation Department, and we have 3 priorities. Number 1, finish Cagney Park. It's been up there now for almost 8 years, unfinished. Cagney Park. Number 2, the stadium. The stands have not been put up. We got a new field, but there's no stands. When is that going to be put up? So Norland, North Miami Beach, ATM, and North Miami can have a home field for football. Number three, that we have a park and a community center in Solomia. Those are the 3 items. I wish in the future, if we have any other future land sales or option agreements, that we earmark the money towards park and recreation and then library. Those are the 2 departments in our city that needs improvement. The library staff is doing a great job handling them kids up there during the day. But there any other that will I recommend? Thank you.
Public hearing still open.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. On this item, the original agreement was to sell them residential land for residential use. They've now extracted 4.5 acres of land for a determined, yet to be determined use, possibly mixed use, possibly commercial use, possible commercial use to sell off to a another car dealership or hospital or whatever they choose to do. Is the manager's numbers based on the value of land at the residential price, is what we've been hearing about the flow chart and so forth. Is it based upon that? And part of the original agreement was never that 4.5 acres were going to be used for their commercial component. The other thing is, it seems like there was a lot of communications going between council members, negotiations and asking of certain items, yet I didn't hear tonight whether or not the city attorney had to ask council members who had conversations with the developer discussing this item on the agenda, or if it even needed to be disclosed of who had these conversations about how and what this agreement was going to be. who had the contacts. I'm not sure if it applies to this particular item, but if it does, I think it should be. And then, Madam Councilmember Mary, I apologize that you were totally ignored when you wanted to make an amendment about reducing it to a one-year payment or right away. You were just totally ignored by the rest of the council to address that item. And again, why is the city playing on the previous item? Why are we playing banker for a multi-billion-dollar project and not getting our money at one point in time right up in the front? We've had problems with multi-billion-dollar developers in the past who promised us money, but we didn't get it because we gave them time to play the game in the market. When you do these type of agreements in the future, especially with the Solomia project, which we really want to be successful, they have the means, and we have such needs, and you're selling off this piecemeal. A couple $100,000 or a year doesn't mean anything. It's when you have that substance of money at one time that you can actually make things happen. And for future reference, we must have a community center out there at that development. It's the only district that doesn't have a community center of any means compared to the other districts. But that's another discussion another time. But again, 4.5 acres, is it being valued as commercial property that they could very easily go off and sell? Or is it gonna be residential, mixed use? It's totally different value. The other thing is, was there communications and between the council members and this, just so everybody is above board and transparent? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. I'd ask at this time that the council be somewhat wary. Some years back, not that long ago, we were persuaded to sell 50 acres of land for approximately $20 million, approximately $400,000 an acre, to build high-rise housing. At the same time we closed on that, far inferior land, the Dean's Gold site, which has across from a gas station, across from railroad tracks, inland there's an electrical substation on 2.2 acres, god-awful piece of land. That sold for $10 million per acre. Our land, which was so far better, sold for 1/25 the price. 1/25 the price. And in that deal, to give them that, somehow we agreed to say, hey, and before you leave, before we ink this, let's add another 10 or 20 acres to this so you can get it at whatever price it is, whenever you want, however it is, wherever on the site it is. Would you ever do that with your actual own property, your own personal possessions? And yet that's what we did, so callously. I would just ask that maybe we take some more time to consider this, not get taken advantage for the second, third, fourth, fifth, or however many times it's been with this group. We all want this location to succeed. We desperately want this to succeed. And isn't it heartbreaking that when you go over there, because there is no real master plan, which is an oxymoron in a way with these people, that we show up there and there's Costco. What could have been a park or some nice central space. Now these new construction is looking down on the roof and the parking area and the gas station of Costco. Is that something we planned for in the beginning? Probably not. And it keeps on going downhill from there. As I've said before, this is a fountain of disappointment, and I ask that you do everything possible to put the brakes on, get more for the city, for the council and for the constituents of our city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is now closed. Do you have a question?
I'll put my motion to approve back on the table, unless there's further council discussion.
Go ahead.
I had a, never mind regarding my question.
The only concern I have is the 4.5 acre swap. Mr. City Manager, let's see, we close in 45 days, right? Right after they exercise the option to swap, what they will give the city. what the city will get?
We would get,
What are we, okay, first of all, what are we getting for the swap?
25,000 per acre.
Right.
So that's immediately. If they swapped immediately,
If they,
113,000.
if they swap within 180 days?
Yes.
Whatever after, what happened after?
Double that.
It's $50,000?
225.
That 4.5 acres is residential, right?
Yes.
And when they're gonna do the swap, it can be turned to commercial or mixed use.
Actually, sir, I'd like the clarification on that
Mhm.
myself, because my understanding is that it should be residential. This was a residential parcel agreement.
Yes.
So that's my
Are we
understanding.
swapping residential for residential? That's my question.
My understanding is
No,
that.
can you let the attorney answer it on record,
Oh.
please?
You want our attorney or
Yes,
your
your
attorney?
attorney.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. The intention is for it to be residential or mixed use. Daniel Salas, the General Counsel for Solomia. Address is 15055 Biscayne Boulevard.
The 4.5?
Yes, our intention is for it to be residential or mixed use, with a majority of it being residential, so we can have a mixed use community type project with retail below or retail associated with the residential.
The only concern we have now, we feel like the 4.5 swap, and they're paying 400,000 for it, and they wanna swap it later. And I think the 25,000 is kind of low. Yes, go ahead.
What I had asked is, you said it's your intention to, with the property you're swapping, to make it residential or mixed use. So can we put that language in the agreement?
We have no issue with that.
Okay.
Actually,
Wait, let her finish.
No, that was my question that I had asked.
If you, okay. Now,
right, so how long will it take for you to figure out what it is that you'd like to do with this master plan? Because you're saying you don't know. What is the estimation time that you think it will take you to
the
figure that
only
out?
concern we have, the 4.5 acres, right?
It would
What
take
we are trying to figure out, the 4.5 acres should not be sold for 400,000 by giving you that option. That's the only thing we are discussing now.
No, let me clarify something. The 4.5 is within the 20. You've already agreed to the purchase price of that.
Yes.
So that's 400,000 an acre. By allowing for the option, they're providing you an additional payment on top of the 400,000 for the option of being able to swap it at a later date not exceeding 1 year's time from the actual execution.
After 1 year, what's gonna happen?
Nothing. They can't swap anymore.
So they have a year to make
Right,
up their
but-
mind?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, but I have an issue with the fact that, what are you swapping this for? We need to see what the benefit is to us. Why can't we have an idea? You know, that's my.
And I think, understand that they wanna buy that's their land. They just wanna make a deal with you.
Right.
Yeah.
So
The only
if you're
thing we can
making a
discuss
deal, I
is
need to
price.
understand that's fine. What am I dealing? What's the deal? Outside of a swap, why? What are you
I mean,
building? How long is gonna take to build?
Well,
Like,
I can't answer how long and their plan. I can answer the basic question is, you're basically swapping residential for residential, that in essence.
But there's a discussion that.
Well, mixed use has residential
Commercial.
in it with with commercial pieces at the.
No, you
first
can
floor.
do 2-bedroom
Right.
on a 10-story
Right.
commercial.
But
That's
the
considered mixed use.
But the 2.7 million was calculated for residential, correct?
Correct, and they
So
would.
if they do mixed use, then what
No,
is
no,
that?
no,
calculate?
no,
No,
The
no,
mi-
no,
no,
no.
no. It would still be the same because the residential is I think is the highest.
Highest
part-
and best
part-
use.
The highest
The
and best use.
2.7, we're getting it at closing too.
Yes, you're getting that at closing.
Yeah.
Also, so I heard a discussion, Mayor, that you are comfortable with doing so I'm going to the LPO issue. So you're comfortable, Mayor, doing it?
That was done.
That was done?
Yeah,
That's
that
not
was
part
in
of
the
it?
last.
The
That was
previous
the
one.
last item.
Oops, I'm
Yes, that's
sorry.
Yeah.
With
I thought,
swapping.
all the back and forth,
This is the swapping now.
I apologize.
That's been for the other $2 million, we get one at closing and the other one in October, the first quarter of October, the first quarter of fiscal year 2020. That's been before December.
Can I ask a question? Do you
Yes,
need-
it's the swap, that's the only.
Do we need more time, or no, I know you're saying us. Do we need more time, or are we ready to move forward, or?
Can we move forward,
Or can we-
without the swap?
No, the swap is important to our ability to master plan the site in accordance with market trends. Look, for us, we want to build what makes the most sense, and what makes the most sense for us ultimately is what will be the most successful for the city. The swap allows us the opportunity to maximize what we can do on the site to make it the best project it can possibly be.
And before when we were negotiating and that swap, and for disclosure, and former Mayor Kevin Burns want us to disclose, yes, I meet with everybody. Throughout the year, it's an ongoing project. Every day, I spoke with the lobbies, the developer, the attorney, and I discussed that with the city manager. That's when it's an ongoing project.
Can I
for
help
the
you,
city.
Mayor?
Yes.
We've been working on this for over a year.
Yes,
So
yes.
Yes, there's been
Multiple.
tons of meetings.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
You-
And
Are we all disclosing, or you just?
if you
this is
you
not
don't
a
have to,
quasi-judicial.
it's not a
That's what I thought.
quasi-judicial.
Okay.
I'm just,
I'm like,
I just
what's-
say something, yeah. And yeah, I was telling you that when we were discussing about the swap, we came with a number before. City manager, we come with a price tag, one lump sum, instead of doing it 25,000
Yeah,
and
the-
before
the-
180 days.
So-
What was the calculation?
So that was a different, the construct of that was very different. At that time, the discussion was about having a swap option available for 5 years.
Okay.
And then we set on, well, I set on a price of $300,000.
Additional.
Additional per acre.
That's mean
For the
the
fi-
4.5 will be 700,000 per acre,
right.
with 5 years options.
With 5 years of option. We went back and forth, and
We will prefer that.
For what? I'm so sorry.
I think it's important to note that we had a number of iterations of this agreement throughout our negotiations, and as we moved through them, there was give and take on both sides. I think we've come to an agreement that benefits both the
There's
city
a give and
and
take. Where's
Solimia.
the give and take?
There was lots of give and take
Where is
along
that?
the way about timing of payments, about the structure of the agreement. I also think it's important to point out, under the original agreement that this 20 acres stems from, we had the ability to swap at no cost. That option ran out because we didn't exercise it, but going back, we had the ability to do that at no cost. So this is not, the swap is not a new concept. It's not something that's new for the project. What we're doing here is recreating a portion of that option, because that option was more than 4.5 acres.
He's confusing me.
The agreement that was executed approximately 5 years ago, that allowed us to exercise the option to buy this 20 acres, that old agreement gave us a time period where we could do a swap at no cost. That period ran out. So all we're doing here is reinstituting the swap on a much smaller scale. We don't have the ability to swap nearly as much. And in doing that, providing the city, in the event that we exercise that option, with $25,000 an acre if we do it within 6 months, or $50,000 an acre if we do it beyond 6 months and within a year.
Thank you very much. Mr. City Manager, a question. And how much gonna be the check at closing? Without this, the
other
swap,
side.
the
Yeah,
swap.
All right, so
can
that
be
we're
the-
talking about, for this agreement, $10.7 million.
No.
Yes.
It's more than that, no.
No, this is, I'm just referring to the residential
You're talking about 8
parcel
million.
agreement.
Wait, you're
Yes.
talking about 8 million.
And
plus the
2.7.
2.7.
That's 10.7.
Plus the 800,000 for the,
That's,
for the,
you're asking about both.
oh,
both
no,
combined
total, I'm
payments. Yeah,
talking
yes, yeah,
about total,
yeah.
at closing, yeah, plus the 800,000, right?
What, 800,000?
That's the portion of the LPO payment that will be made.
Okay.
Right. Just to be clear, I believe it's $666,666.66 or 67
It's
cents.
800,000, the first payment. You wanna take it? Are you okay with that? 800,000, making it how much? 11.5? Plus the swap, right? Yes.
Sorry, when and if it is exercised.
I think we're mixing items here.
That's what I
we're-
thought too.
Yeah, I think we're
It's
mixing
two
items in a
items,
way that.
okay? When we were
Right.
discussing the first item, okay, the check for the 800,000, okay, you gotta have that check from the previous resolution that you have to end over at closing.
Right,
At
what
the
was-
same time.
We're in full support of what was just passed on the last item. We're
No,
in total agreement on what was just passed with the prior item.
And for the
When we're gonna, okay, when we're gonna
And
have
that-
the check
The
for
first payment would come at closing of this item,
That's
which
what I
would be.
said.
Right.
That's when we're gonna have two checks for a total of $11.5
No,
million, right?
I believe it's 11.3 and change, somewhere between
If-
11.3
if
and
it's
11.4.
Exactly. If it's 800,000, it's gonna be 11.5.
Mr.
so,
Mayor.
Ms.
10.7.
Yeah.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, what I believe that Mr. Ross is saying is that the agreement that we just made is that it's going to be divided, the 2 million is going to be a period of 3
We
years.
understand.
So,
No,
is-
not
and
3
this is,
years. I
Yes.
said the first in 3 payments.
right,
But I
so
want the
we
first-
didn't identify
Oh.
what that funding was.
Would
So
be-
the assumption is that it's going to be 66,000 point whatever
Okay,
it is.
okay, whatever it is. Okay, that's
So-
fine with me. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
but
fine.
you're
That's
you're
correct.
quoting
It's
a
3 equal
800.
installments.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine, that's fine.
Okay.
But it's gonna be at closing.
The first payment will come at closing, that's
Okay,
correct.
that's when 11.3 something.
Correct.
That's what it is.
I
Yeah.
believe that number's accurate.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm so confused relating to this item because obviously, Mr. Mayor, you have you have been in touch with the developer and the manager relating to the item. Are we all clear? Because I'm a little confused, so I probably need the manager again to clarify what we're doing. Because my suggestion is,
You are, and I warned of this earlier.
Yeah,
We're mixing the two items.
exactly. So that's what
The item that is before you right now for consideration is the residential parcel agreement, which including the original agreement, and if you accept tonight this amendment, the payment of the immediate payment of the
residential agreement.
of the participation rent, which is $2.7 million. You add the $8 million, which is $400,000 per acre for the 20 acres plus point whatever the number is. Rounded to $8 million. So $8 million plus 2.7 is
Okay.
10.7, which is
Okay.
the number that I put on
Okay,
previously.
for this one, okay.
This item.
Okay,
with
this one is
this, yeah, not
10.7.
This
Yeah.
item.
so my concern, which I thought we were clear with, was the swap as well, that we are discussing, but that's the main core of this item. It's my understanding, right, Mr. Ross?
I wouldn't
The swap.
I wouldn't necessarily call it the core, but it's a part of this
So
item.
because his concern was the swap and mine was also, because my thing is the first time I discussed the item for the first time was earlier last week, I think, when we met on the 7th. And then I think I met with you and the attorney 2 days later. So,
The 8th.
yes, but I didn't have the item until the 9th, I think, whatever that Thursday was, last Thursday. So it was a lot to digest. And then your memo was very clarifying, but that was the day before yesterday, 2 days, yesterday. So it was yesterday I got the memo, or the day before yesterday.
Actually, it was actually in my staff report.
Oh, in
The
the
previous
memo?
Thursday, yeah.
The previous
Previous
memo.
Thursday.
But the one that you sent out,
I just
yes.
clear cleared
That's
it up
what
a
I'm
little
saying.
bit.
So that email was either yesterday at 2:30, whichever the case is. So there's a lot of if everyone is okay, I'm okay. I'm not necessarily there, but I'm okay with the particular item. Or is it something that we need more time, or because it's the it seems there's
No,
one
it's,
common.
it's just because I
thing.
was mixing thing. Okay, now for this one is 10.7, right? That's how much we're getting.
That's correct.
At the same time, we're gonna have another check for the 600.
Correct.
Whatever it is.
From
which
the
is
prior item.
Exactly.
Correct.
Which is a total of 11 to something.
Correct.
That's what it is, right? Can I have a motion on the item?
So moved.
With the amendment?
So moved.
Madam Clerk.
What is the amendment?
The amendment 45
Yeah,
days.
the amendment was 45 days.
So
Close
moved.
45
Second.
days. Let me see, making sure it's 45 days for closing. Yes.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab P with the stated amendment. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you very much. I really do want to thank the mayor, council, the manager, his staff, and the city attorney and his staff for working through this with us. And we're very appreciative we were able to get it done.
Prior to moving on to legislative matters, Vice Mayor Desilme, what is your vote on tab L?
What is tab L? We all the way in Q. What is L? The software,
Proposed
yes.
yes?
Yes.
That's your vote?
Yeah, it's the software proposal, right?
Yes.
That is
Yes, the
correct.
hardware and software, yes.
Okay, thank you. Tab Q, proposed ordinance, first reading of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending chapter 7 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Finance at Article 3, Division 3, entitled Source Selection and Contract Formation, specifically at Section 7-151 entitled Local Business Preference and Local Hiring Requirements in City Contracts, to update the standards for the award local business preference, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, codification, and for an effective date. Tab Q.
Thank you. Mayor, Council, this is an ordinance. We've had some discussions regarding the city's local preference ordinance. Several of you have spoken to us about potentially making this a more stricter requirement. The mayor asked us, I believe it was sometime last December, to go back and take a look at our local preference ordinance and see if we can look at some other cities and perhaps make it a little bit stricter. So what we've done is we've made some changes. There's 3 changes to the ordinance. First, it requires that the certificate of use be issued at least 12 months prior to the city's issuance of a solicitation. So in other words, the vendor or who's ever responded to the solicitation would have had to have a certificate of use 1 year before the solicitation goes out. The second requirement is that there's a physical address within the city in an area zoned to conduct such business on a day-to-day basis. And so virtual offices by themselves would not be acceptable. You'd actually have to have a physical office within the city. And then all of the requirements, there has to be a certified in writing, providing all documentation that support that the ordinance is being complied with. Originally in the former, if you approve it, originally in the former ordinance, you were required to satisfy at least 2 of the following requirements. We're making this stricter by requiring that you follow all 3 of these requirements. And that's pretty much it. And if you agree, then we ask that you approve this ordinance.
And I have a quick amendment I would like to make on this resolution. After stated that from which the vendor operate or perform business on a day-to-day basis, and he has at least 10% of his total workforce residing in the city. What I want to add to that, it's in case someone doesn't live in the city, doesn't reside in the city, the business is not located in the city, but they can subcontract another business in the city if the subcontract is at least 20%. Let me explain you what. Let's say someone has a $10 million contract. We may don't have a business in the city capable of doing a contract like that. But in order to get the local preference, if that business subcontract 10%, at least $2 million of that $10 million contract, they can benefit from the local preference. That's mean either or. That's makes sense. Instead of 10%, we are making it 20%. Not the hiring. I'm talking about subcontract. That's what we wanna.
So basically, sir, what you're adding is you would be adding a fourth requirement.
That's fine.
That's a fourth
Either
requirement.
or, no, not fourth. Either or.
It would be a fourth requirement, and then it would be either you have a physical address or you do the other.
Yes.
I couldn't make them both.
Yes. Okay. It's either or. Are we understand?
This, Mr. Mayor, is it open public? Is this an item? for
No, you
public?
can make the discussion. After that, we're gonna open it to the
Yeah,
public.
this is the first time I saw it when it came out in reference to. So, Mr. Attorney, what are you striking? You making it stricter or you making it easier? Which one?
This is to make it stricter, sir.
Oh,
And make
this
it
would-
clear.
It would make it stricter.
Clear
And clear.
yes.
Okay, because I'm not clear. So, all right. So, right now the way it is what? How is it read?
The ordinance right now is actually 12 months.
This is a business.
So right now we're adding that. Actually, sorry, there should have been something stricken out, and I don't see it.
Yeah,
stricken
that's what
out.
I'm looking
So
at.
hold on.
In the local business mean. Is he here? I thought I saw him.
Sleeping.
He's on Facebook.
I see why. Okay, so right now, as it reads right now, it has a business located in the city with a current business tax receipt issued prior to the city's issuance of solicitation. So in other words, right now, as long as you have the business tax receipt prior to the issuance of the solicitation, then you're okay. So in other words, if the solicitation comes out in May, but you had your business tax receipt in January, then you're fine right now. And then right now, there's a requirement that you have 10% of your total workforce residing in the city, or you subcontract 10% of the contractual amount with
Okay.
subcontractors. So that,
Now I
that
wanna make
requirement you're adding,
20%.
you're putting that back in and making it 20%.
Yes.
Quick question, Mr. Mayor. My understanding.
Not the workforce. I'm talking about the business. Yeah. Not
Right.
the workforce.
The sub.
Yeah.
I see. So you're not the workforce, you want
Yeah,
the
the
10%
business.
contractual amount
Yes.
to go up to 20%.
Yes.
And that would be a fourth requirement.
Yes.
So you would leave the business as 10.
20.
It's
Subcontract.
subcontract is 20. So
No, now we make it 20.
now,
Now
I
it's
know now
10.
it's 10.
Yeah, we wanna
You
make
see
it
what I'm
20.
saying?
Yeah, now it's
Now it's
10.
And the
He's
business
asking
would-
that it be 20.
20
Yes.
for the subcontract only, or the business will get the subcontract to
So we,
clarify.
so, okay, so
To
what
qualify.
what we proffered was we were removing the 10% total workforce requirement, and we were removing the 10% contractual amount requirement. The mayor is amending that to say, put back in the 10% contractual amount. So that would be a fourth requirement of the ordinance. So we'd be basically putting back the option to have subcontracts up to 20% of the contract amount.
Okay, my quick question, in reference to that, the physical location of the business was one of the.
It's still there.
It's still there, but that
We
needed
changed
to
it to
clarify that
making
way
sure
it
it's
needs to
12
be a
months.
business.
Yes.
You know, like not a PO box or a mailbox or something in that
That's
nature,
actually, that language already exists in our
already
code,
exists.
yes.
Okay, so this is making it stricter according to you.
Yes.
Okay, to what I'm saying. Is that what
And
it is,
increase
Mr.
it to
Attorney?
20%.
That's
Yes,
what.
it would be stricter, yes, sir.
Okay. trying to understand.
Can I ask
Yes.
one question? Would you be willing to amend this to only give a preference of 5% of the valuation points or 5% of the total price as opposed to 10, which is in, it's on page 3 of 4,
That's
3B.
right.
What happens is local preference is important, but we also might be knocking out some really qualified people because someone employs 10%.
No, not 10%, not employer, I say
20%.
subcontract 20%.
Subcontract or have, but what I'm saying is.
You're going down to section
3B.
3B, preference to local businesses. And right now, a business that's a local business gets a 10% of the total evaluation or 10% of the total price. So
Oh, we
she's-
only
so
reduce
she's-
the
she wants
price
to
to
reduce it
5%?
Well, so what we've got is we've got people bidding, qualified people bidding, and on the way certain things meet, if everybody's pretty close and someone's down below, that extra 10% knocks our qualified people out of the game.
I mean, here,
So I'd like to.
May I weigh in? I'm the maker, I'm the original dude that sponsored this local preference thing in 1999. It's one of my first pieces of legislation. It's worked pretty well for 21 years. I would just want to leave it at 10%.
And I agree.
No.
And
I agree. I want to
Wanna keep
encourage.
20 oh,
no, I'm
10%
talking
for the
about
price. Yeah,
section,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to
would-
encourage
would
that
think,
we
yeah.
use our small business or
So
minority
everybody,
businesses
since
have
we're
an
gonna have big
opportunity.
contract, and then we wanna allow small business to have a piece
Yes.
of
It
that.
is called local preference.
Yes,
Yes. Right.
exactly. That's
Yes,
why
I
if we
wanna
don't
leave
have
it
a
at
big
10.
business, at
As a
least
matter
they
of fact,
can.
I don't mind making it 15%.
Okay. Thank you very much, and now public hearing is open on the item.
Bob Pashon, 13005 Coronado Terrace. I like the changes to the structure of the local preference because we give clarity and we preserve the notion of what is a local business. When we have people that exist only here as a post office box, that's not a local business. That wasn't the idea behind Mr. Galvin's legislation in 1999, I don't think. The 10% bonus, though, I think is problematic. The Gelden experience we had most recently clarified that to me in that we have a proposed bidder who wants the business, wants to provide a service to the city, and when he was scored and rated and ranked, he was last. But because at the time he was awarded the 10% local preference business, he got the business. So what I think has happened is we because of this, it's weighted too much. So that because he exists locally, he's going to leapfrog much more qualified people, or more qualified people, according to the rating committee, and that doesn't do the residents any good. I mean, we're getting an inferior service, but the guy does live in town, or he's got a business in town, and I'm not sure that's what we're after. You want to recognize the fact that he's there, and I think that's laudable, but I think we want to recognize it proportionate to what we want to get back from the bidder. Thank you.
Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bayshore Drive. I remember, Scott, when you sponsored that in 1999. And I know what your goal was to have local businesses employ local people and get them jobs. That was the main goal. And that was memorable. I think that's the goal we should do. And my only question, I think the city attorney is trying to protect the city. He's trying to protect us from lawsuits. And my only concern is that if we do the 10%, subcontract, can that stand constitutionally if someone wants to challenge us in court? That's my only concern, is to safeguard the city and reduce the risk. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open. Public hearing is now closed. Can I hear a motion?
Move approval with the stated fourth condition.
Yes.
Second.
I second. Okay. Madam Clerk.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab Q with the stated amendments. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin. Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Desame, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Estimate Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab R was pulled.
Huh?
Now we're on.
Tab,
We are on Citizens Forum.
Madam Clerk, before Citizen Forum, I would like to recognize our former Councilman Jack Despinos, who I requested a few minutes just to address the council, the 3 minutes. Councilman Despinos, please go ahead, and then we'll open up to public review. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. They just gave me the stuff.
Thank you. Jacques Despinos, 95 Northeast 131, North Miami, Florida. I'm here this afternoon on behalf of the Despinos family.
We love you, Jacques. Take
To say to the city, thank you for the use of Celestine and all that. Especially, I'm here to say thank you to our police department. You do a good job. On behalf of my family, yeah, I thank you. Chief Yoga, salute. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Despinas, who recently lost his wife, a longtime resident, Miss Susie Steffen of District 3 of the great city of North Miami. And I shared the same sentiment from Councilman Galvin and everyone on this dais. Sympathy from us to you and the family, and thank you. And now we'll go up to Citizen Forum.
Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bay Shore Drive. This city in its history has been very fortunate since we adopted a council manager form. The first city manager was Robert Yorkie. Then it was Woody Hampton. I won't mention the next one because he doesn't deserve to be mentioned. Then it was Lawrence Casey, Lee Fallman, Omar Plummer, Toby Scott, if I got these right, Clarence Patterson, Mark Collins, Russell Benford, Stephen Johnson, Aleem Gimme.
Gwen Boyd was in there.
Oh, Gwen Boyd, and Duke Shorey III as interim, and then Larry Spring. We've been very fortunate that we've had good city managers, and it's just like in baseball. You have a manager, and eventually, you know, there's a disagreement or there's a different path to go on, and the manager get fired. Look at the Cubs this year. However, as an example, up in North Miami Beach, Anna Garcia was dismissed by their city council a year ago, and she landed up in Dania Beach. And I know how it feels because I was once dismissed. After I served as a interim director of financial aid for the University of Miami, and I was told I was going back to my position. I was supposed to train a new person coming in, and I was dismissed. So I know how it is, but there's always greener pastures, and that's the only thing. Also, it gives us the time to reset the clock. And that's why I want to see, I will urge, I don't care who you hire, but I would like to see a national search. I think the last time we did a really honest national search was in 1973. Number two, my second recommendation, we need to look at our fiscal house. We need to gain the confidence of the public. I would suggest we give out monthly reports like NMB and North Bay Village does and Hollandale Beach to the citizen, make it available. We need to be more transparent. We need to keep with budget with actual expenses. And we need to get out of this deficit spending cycle that we've been in lately. Because we can post 3 to 4 years of good CAFAs. I promise you this. I'm going to be moving out of this city very soon, but I want to move back in and own a home and invest in this city and also take my business and invest in this city. And what I would like to see is when I do come back in, we have a couple of CAFAs in deposit, and I'll be willing to do a bond issue, but do it for water and sewer. We need to replace the pipes. We don't need to go down what Fort Lauderdale went down. And I know because I've been up in Fort Lauderdale and Morton Manor.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Javon Joseph. Hopefully I can lighten the mood. Born and raised at Pepper Park, longtime resident of
Please state your address for the record, sir. I apologize.
Pepper Park. No, I'm just here. 14115 Northwest 17th Avenue. I'm here today as my first meeting. I'm here today because I attended Benjamin Franklin, graduated North Miami Senior High in 1998, played sports, played every sport in the community at the park, Pebble Park, Benjamin Franklin Park. Mr. Story, his dad was my football coach a long time ago, and he was like my father figure back then. And now my kids are going through the same cycle of playing sports at the parks. I have 2 kids that box at the North Miami Powell. I'm heavily involved. I have 5 boys that live with me, that I have on a daily basis. And a couple of my kids, they play travel basketball. And I don't know if anybody knows about AAU basketball, but it's big. But there's no AAU basketball really in Miami. You have to go way either in Fort Lauderdale, Sunrise, or way down south. So I proposed, and I've tried to get a basketball program in the city of North Miami. We have 3 gyms. Joe Celestine Gym, where I train my son, and half of the time, that $1 million gym that was built is empty. Uses me and my 12-year-old son working out, doing workouts. A lot of kids can't afford to get in, so if I see them outside, I'll pay the $5. But it makes no sense that we have North Miami Senior High, North Miami Middle, and Joe Celestine that's always empty. We have a lot of talent in the community. Last year, I personally picked up a couple kids, and no disrespect to no one that's Jewish, but I had to take my kids and some of our residents to Aventura to go to the Jewish Community Center to join their travel team. Why do I have to take our kids out of our city to go to another city to play when we have gyms that are beautiful, that are empty? So right now, our travel team, we're playing at the Boys and Girls Club, but the gym is horrible. There's no grip on the floor, but luckily the gym is free. They give it to us on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 to 9. So my question is, we're not asking the city for any money, but can we, use the facilities for our kids in our community to build a team to have, North Miami travel basketball, because we could generate money from doing tournaments, utilizing those gyms. So that's my presentation. Hopefully I could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 approvals. But I mean, it's only to benefit the kids.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr.
Judy
Manager.
Brown. 1100 Northwest 128 Terrace. There are a couple of things that I am concerned about. First of all, I'm trying to find out about the boards. I'm on the library board. We have not met. The city clerk was saying the last couple of times we're going to get to the boards. Then I asked my councilman about the boards. He said that it was going to city manager. So here we are now in January, and some of the boards have not met in quite some time. So I don't know what's the timeline on trying to bringing that to a close, or what's going on with the boards. That's the first thing. The second thing, I would like to thank our Chief Juriga and the police department for their efforts in the New Year's Eve celebration. It has certainly got better, and with education and the dedication of his department, we are hoping that it will continue to improve. I am concerned about, I get calls from my people in my community. There seems to be an increase in gunfire all over. And with the rings that we have on installed, you get reports all the time. It's just like, I don't know, rapid fire, just da 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 da. I don't know if this is something that's all over, that's going on all over the city, but it seems to be on the rise. So those are the two things that I'm very much concerned about, and I really, really wanted to give a shout out to our chief and his staff, because it was much better. I was able to get to bed and get off the floor around 3:30 to get to bed on New Year's. And I would like to say to Mr. Springer, I wish you Godspeed. It was a pleasure knowing you. And you was very comforting to me when that tree was on my house. I looked up and I saw the cavalry, and you were leading the pack. I never will forget that, because I was very unnerved from the hurricane. My mom and I was there. And I thank you, and I wish you much success in your endeavors.
Veronica Guzman, 540 Northwest 127th Street. I want to address two things. The last time that I was here, I addressed the issue that I was having with the 6th Avenue ramp speeding, and I do want to say that Chief Juriga came out immediately, and it's gotten better. There's still, the traffic's still a problem, and speeding down the street is still a problem, but it has gotten better. And then the other thing I wanted to address was across the street from me, my neighbor is actually here. The houses on that side have an alleyway, and the alleyways are very dark. We've had issues with burglaries, and just today she was burglarized. So I wanted to see more patrolling, I would say, in the neighborhood at night, or better lighting in the alleyways. And if the alleyways are no longer going to be used because the garbage is now picked up out front, if maybe it can possibly be closed altogether. Thank you.
Bob Pichon, 13005 Coronado Terrace. I'm glad Judy brought that up about New Year's Eve. I'd like to give a shout out to the police department as well. I mean, we've got a lot of idiots, certainly in my neighborhood, and the chief does a good job of trying to get out in front of that type of thing, try to keep people calm. He's out doing the job. He's doing these active shooter presentations, which, I mean, I just think that North Miami Police Department is doing a great job for the residents, so that should be said. And Larry, I guess no good deed goes unpunished. So thank you for the job you've done. I mean, it's, again, like I said earlier, we don't agree on everything, but you've always been professional. I think you're a great guy. You're going to do well. Wish you the best of luck.
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. I too wish City Manager Larry Spring, I think you gained a couple letters again tonight. It always happens, doesn't it? I wish you the very best going forward. Maybe we'll even see you over there at Solomia. Who knows? Didn't our last city manager somehow do a deal, and then next thing we knew he was working for Oleta Partners? These things happen, don't they?
Who's that?
In general, though, I'd like to say, amongst the people that are in front of me, the 5 people on the dais and the other 4, I think collectively this is probably as good, if not better, than our last 20 years or so of people that have been assembled up there. And I'd like to, and I thought the city was on a roll with some very positive, making progress on a number of issues and about a general attitude in improving this city. I hope that's perpetuated. I hope all of you continue to carry that ball, and I hope if we have a gap in the near future that it is filled with with great consideration to try to fill that to the needs of the city, and that we go together even stronger in this coming year. So Happy New Year to all, and all the best. Thank you.
Kenneth East, 776 Northeast 125th Street. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you for Citizens Forum. It's a way for us to express what's going on in the city and the thoughts. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of rumors are out there. Perception becomes reality, unfortunately. The mayor just cleared up the incident about the rumor out there about the vehicles. Well, there's another rumor out there that this is a fait accompli, and the new city manager has already been selected. That's what I'm hearing out there. Now, it would be very negative or deceitful if I didn't say so. I was just talking to Mr. McDermott, who's the president of the Central City Homeowners, and the Central City Homeowners would request that we do a national search, which I think would be only fair to everybody involved, the citizens, and that would eliminate any of the rampant rumors that are out there. It would kind of suppress that there is nobody that has been nominated or selected or what have you to be the next city manager. One of the things I learned in government many years ago, Mr. City Manager, there was always two bosses better. The one that came before you and the one that's coming after you. Well, I don't know who's coming after you, but I can unequivocally say that I knew a lot of the city managers that were here, Larry Casey being one of the best. But a lot of managers came in between you and him, and you are one of the best. You are a true guardian of the public trust, and we are going to miss you. Thank you for the professionalism that you brought to the city. Thank you for encouraging our staff to be professional. And thank you for all the wonderful things you have done for this city. It was truly an honor and a privilege for me to know you, and I think I can say that on behalf of the Central City Homeowners and our president, Mr. McDermott. Thank you very much.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street in Sunkist Grove. Would just like to announce that the Sunkist Grove Fabulous Light Festival was suspended due to low registration. And I would like to thank the residents who chose to display their holiday decor. In regards to the bike giveaway, I would like to thank Madam Clerk for 5 bikes, Carol Keys for 1, the mayor 1, Dr. Desime for 1, for 2 bikes.
Tweet?
How many? What?
How many you gonna give?
Am I gonna give or did I give?
Going to give. Going
Oh,
to.
going. Oh,
Going
I don't
to.
know. Madam Clerk, can I have one of yours? So, I mean.
That's very funny. Ha,
No,
ha,
it's not
ha.
funny. No. Miss
We've
Miss Austin, no, honestly, everybody here could tell you and the manager could confirm, I don't have no more money, so I can't really, and I don't, because they cut off,
you can borrow
yeah,
from
they
Scott.
cut off so I don't have nothing really, so I think either Councilwoman Keys or Galvin, somebody could just help me out here, because.
Okay, well, let me go back to the bikes that are spoken for then. I need my time back, please.
Yes.
For the laughs. I wasn't laughing, everyone else would, but I wasn't laughing, because it's not funny to me. Madam Clerk 5, Carol Keys 1, those are the bikes I have seen. Promised by Mike McDermott from Knights of Columbus are 2 bikes. And Mayor, are you going to donate or not? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yes, 1.
1. Okay, now, what is going to be done is the writing is one of the lowest performing skills in the school, and they're going to have writing contests that's going to come up in February, and to follow, 2 writing contests. The bikes will serve as the prize for the prizes for the written contest. We are encouraging the students to write and write well. We don't want to give them fish. We want to teach them how to fish. That's why we want to tie their writing skills to the reward of the bikes, their their summaries that they're going to write will be published online, so you'll be able to see them, and the bikes will be presented here in City Hall sometime in February. I want to thank everybody so much who helped in these projects for our children, because we all know it takes a village to raise a child. And I would just like to say, I am stunned by the self-ego generated and displayed by you council members today without consideration of the community for which you represent in regards to this hiring, firing notion of the city manager. And I say this because there was no town hall meetings or any kind of reaching out to the constituents of the city of North Miami in making this decision. So I would like for you to soul search. I would really like to see you become more connected and more representative of the people who put you in office. Thank you.
Public hearing still open on, no, sorry, citizen forum. Citizen forum is now closed, and now it's time for reports. Let's start with District 1.
No report, Mr. Mayor. Happy New Year, everybody.
District 2.
Yeah, I would just like to bring up, again, come January 31st, we are not going to have a permanent manager, and I would like to see a national search. We did a national search, I guess it was in 2016, when we hired the current manager.
Who do we hire?
We hired Mr. Spring,
Mr. Spring was here,
but we did a national search.
but he was here.
But that didn't mean we didn't search nationally. I interviewed probably about 10 people, mostly throughout the country, that came from New Jersey, Iowa, all over the country. We chose to hire within because we felt Mr. Spring was the highest qualified person. But I would still like our human resources to publish a search that we are looking. And also I would like to make sure that whoever we hire does have governmental managerial experience.
How many city managers did you hire before here?
Just one.
Okay, hire more than one. What make you think if we did that before, we're not
Who
gonna
hired
do
more
that
than one?
again? It's like Council Keys, you do the same thing that people are saying outside. We always pick the right person. What make you think that right now we're gonna pick someone, you're gonna pick something different?
There's a lot of people out there. We want to let people know the position is available.
No, we're talking about we making sure we hire qualified people. What make you think we're gonna hire unqualified people? We hire
I'm just saying if
multiple
we're doing
people
a
in
search,
the past.
well, we have, just want to search, wants people with experience.
That's what
And
you've
we
been
do,
doing. When
but
you
are we
put
go-
it out there, it's open to national and
So are we-
international. You can be in China and you have access to a computer.
So are we going to do a?
When you say
we're gonna-
national search,
Okay,
I
so
don't understand what you're talking
there's no
right now.
qualifications required. We'll just talk to them and see if we think they're qualified. That being said, are we going to do a national search? Are we going to get that started? in the
We're not
meantime?
there yet.
When we are there,
Okay, that's what do you want?
I would like to have human resources, whatever it is that they do. I don't know what they do.
When
but
we
a
put a search
pub-
out there, do we say,
I'm not talking about a professional firm, but our human resources know how to put a notification out there that we have a position available. How they publish that, where they go. I mean, that's the cities. I mean, they've got their websites, they've got their locations. I would just like to get it started. Why wait till the 31st?
oh, okay, you want to start now?
Yeah.
You want
We can hi-
okay.
we
Your
can-
recommendation is for the actual city manager to request that the personnel department put.
Yeah, start looking.
Yeah, you said national search because when you put it out there, it's for everyone
Right,
to
it's
see.
worldwide on the web,
That's
so I'd like- I'd
there's
just like to
there's
get it
nothing
out there.
said local, national, or state, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know when people said national search what that means. And
Well, it's
District
just,
3.
it's out
Huh?
there. It's just out there wherever.
We have
You know
another
what I mean?
council. We still have another council meeting.
Yeah, but why should we wait? Because we know that
Okay.
we've terminated. I mean, there's
After
no
that,
reason to
we'll
wait.
come with a proposal. District 3.
Can we just give direction to the
Mr.
manager to go ahead and get that started?
Get what started? You're talking about?
Get a search, just a notification?
Let everyone just do the report, and after that,
Okay.
if you have a proposal, then you can come up with the motion.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Happy New Year, everyone. Wishing everyone a safe and prosperous 2020 year. I look forward to working with the community and my colleagues to make our great city a better place to live, learn, work, and play. Thank you to all the residents, supporting departments, and performers that made the holiday concert and distribution possible in 2019. Mayor, I'd like to thank you so much for your partnership and look forward to doing it with you some more. I hope that we can continue to working together to bring holiday cheers. I'd like to also acknowledge Carol Keys for her leadership in ensuring that our community continues to rejoice with the Jewish community as residents to celebrate Hanukkah. In addition to celebrating the New Year's, the Haitian community January 1st is also celebrated the Haitian Independence Day, and on this day, through the sponsorship of many organizations, we hosted a Soup Jumu celebration. So I would like to publicly thank Café Crème, Dade Institute of Technology, the Haitian American Chamber of Commerce, Providence Community Center. I'd like to thank all of my colleagues that were present, Mayor Philippe Bien-Aimé, Vice Mayor Alex Izumé, City Clerk Vanessa Joseph. I'd like to thank our Chief, Larry Jariga. I'd like to thank Commissioner Jean Monestime, Commissioner Danielle Levine-Cava. I'd like to thank the commissioners of the City of North Miami Beach that attended, Commissioner Michael Joseph, Fortuna Sluckler, Commissioner Mackenzie Florin-Moore, School Board Member Dorothy Bendros Mendengal, for stopping by on this to celebrate this day with us. I'd also like to publicly thank the news anchor Calvin Hughes of Channel 10, which was in attendance. Not only did he attend, he rolled up his sleeve to help serve food to our guests, so I'm truly grateful for that. Yes, my list is long, but I'd be remiss if I didn't thank those individuals publicly for their donated time. I'd like to thank Mackenson Gentil, which was our MC. I'd like to thank Pastor Fafan for doing our invocation, Portia and Friends, Daydream Productions. I'm thankful to the staff of North Miami who volunteered their time to make this day a success. I'd like to publicly thank our Deputy City Manager, Arthur Sori. I'd like to thank Rosny Augustine, Patricia Levasseur, and all those who made that day a special day. Also, I'd like to, as we took a moment of silence during the earthquake, I'd like to make sure that we don't forget our Puerto Rico that has suffered a 6.4 acre earthquake. So my heart goes out to the Puerto Rican community. As we know, as Haitian American descent, we knew 10 years ago what pain that brings. I'd like to also publicly wish my condolences to the Despinos family. I'd like to thank Jacques Despinos for his service. I'd like to highlight the public servant that he is. Even through this, he was actually at the march that was held in Little Haiti, literally the day after he buried his wife. And he was here again tonight to thank us, the city, and for our participation. So I'd like for us to keep him, my former councilman, my neighbor, and your public servant in prayer. Lastly, tomorrow, January 15, is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's a birthday. So on Monday, the 20th, our great country will be recognizing this great man's contribution and legacy. Dr. King said, "We must remember that injustice everywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." On that note, I wish you good night and Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy New Year to everyone. Just wanted to say a few words in regards to some of my colleagues' behavior. Tonight, it's unfortunate that a lot of times, and it's a national trend, they don't give a lot of us benefit of doubts, or benefit of being whatever. I think there's a lot of whatever rumors and stuff, but it would said a lot because I've been at this for a while to learn that the same thing when you hear things about other folks out there on the street and the respect that I have for them, I simply just leave it as that, and until I see someone, I usually judge them based on their action. But obviously tonight there's a lot of doubt, folks assuming that there's a preconcept, there's a pre-whatever, or there's stuff that they heard in rumor, and I'm very discouraged by it because I think we've been here a long time, and I've not, had to deal with this the same way you're hearing stuff from the community. I'm hearing as well, and the same thing that I'm hearing is we are here tonight. As far as you assuming that I, as an individual, would not want the best for the city, would not want a national search, or would not want, the norm. It's just the benefit of being who I am in America, and that's sad. And it's sad to say tonight that folks, I always thought things that are said in the community are just said to be in the community because this is a public forum, and my colleague would at least give me the same benefit of doubt that I would have given them if I hear stuff out there. So to respond or say something, and I know they have done it to city administration, so the same people who are saying stuff, they have said it, otherwise things that they just heard and they just make the reality. And I've heard a couple of folks, the rumor, whatever is the reality. No, it's not. It's somebody's action that's a reality, not based on what you heard. And too often, us in America, we are subject to that. Just because of certain ways, people just assume that we're gonna do certain things. So I would like to say again to those residents who come up, those who are on here assume certain things. I don't know what you are assuming, and if you have something, I've been asked by the media, stuff that people heard or what they don't heard that's out there, which is fine because that's the nature of what we signed up for. But it is a little discouraging when your folks, colleagues up here you possibly would have thought would have give you, okay, let's see the benefit of a doubt because that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years with them. It's very sad. And what I am gonna say tonight, just the same love and passion that you have for this city, I too do. We may live in different zip code or different area, but I do too. I would want the best for the city. We may disagree and agree on a lot of stuff, but I don't, the same thing that you know or you heard, I've heard it, and I don't know anything in reference to these references council folks and members of the community are made. Yes, I love North Miami. I live in North Miami, just like you, but judge me based on my action, not based on what you heard. Thank you.
But you just need to understand that a lot of people have short memories, and they just want to memorize what they want to memorize. Like Councilwoman Carol Keys, who just said it, he hoped that we hire qualified people. I don't know where she got your information. We've been doing that. We've been hiring people before. We hired Larry Spring. We hire other people here. We hire qualified people. I don't know where you get your story that you hope that we hire qualified people, and the process always fair to everyone. But everyone in might have someone in their mind. There's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, it's 5 council members. We're gonna have a vote. It doesn't matter, and the other thing I want to say, understand that when you come here and you speak and we listen to you, but understand there's a lot of people who don't come here, and we have to listen to them. They don't show up here, but when it's election, they show up. That's when we need to listen to them. It's not only the people who come here that we have to listen to. There's people who don't come here, but they know everything happening in the city. When it's time to vote, they do vote. And I'm pretty much sure that's one of the reasons that I'm here tonight as mayor of the city. And you were gonna say something?
Mr. Mayor, how are we moving, or are we addressing, because Councilwoman Keys mentioned something, I think, since the manager contract was on, that we need to address
The
as far
manager
as.
is leaving on the 31st.
No, but I'm saying, I would like to at least
Okay.
make a nomination for interim, and then if there's a.
No, the interim gonna be at the next council meeting.
Mr. Mayor, if you would allow, I think I agree with my colleague, Dizume, that since we already know the date, I
Yeah.
think we could agree on an interim tonight, so that way that person could be working along with the
With
city
the-
manager. And I think, if my colleagues are comfortable with that, I'm comfortable with knowing that, so we can make that smooth transition. That's my recommendation.
Okay. That's when we don't wanna wait for the next council meeting, and he's leaving on the 31st and,
Like, the next council meeting is on the
The
28th.
28.
Right, so that's so close to the 31st. So I just think it's responsible of us to go ahead and, and discuss that now, I think, if I have the support of my colleagues.
I think one of the most important thing is that hiring whoever the interim, it's to decide how we're gonna fill the position permanently, and I will
Well,
ask my
I think both-
proposal
Let
will
me,
be, yeah.
let me say, so that my recommendation would be we get an interim, and then we do a search, however they want a local or national,
What
whatever
search?
that. Well, I'm just saying that's my, preference, that we do a search, not necessarily a search firm, or if the council decide to do that, that's fine also. But my proposal is and I'm ready to nominate someone, and then we do a search, and then we interview. I think we interviewed the last time a couple of folks. We narrowed it down. Whatever that would be, or a
centralize.
process, whatever the case. That's my recommendation for
The
the record.
recommendation will be to ask the city manager to ask the personnel department to put out there a search for a new city manager.
Can I have a question, please? And I'd like to clarify that with the city attorney and possibly the personnel department. I've heard this national search over and over and over again.
Council,
And
go ahead,
yes,
sorry.
so what I want to clarify, if it is on the website, doesn't that not qualify as a national search? Are there extra steps that need to make it national and
Good question.
Oh, please, please.
The reference to national search, I know sometimes connotates hiring a firm to do it,
That's
but I
right.
think
Yeah.
what the councilwoman is stating and the mayor stated, personnel, and we do this often, when we look for a police chief once before, we did a national search.
That's right.
What that meant is we posted the job posting on all of the local and national hiring job listing services, and we got candidate interest from all over the country. I think, if you allow me to make that recommendation, that is the same thing. You would do that through ICMA, which is the City Managers Association, and all of those different hiring listing services, and it will get national attention that way. Not let's hire a firm, pay them to go find somebody.
Right.
and
Well,
do all
that's
that
what
stuff.
I meant,
Yeah.
because I remember the last time we did something similar. I don't know, did we hire when we were searching for your position? Did we hire? I didn't think so. I think it was.
You guys
It was
just
a
listed
national
it.
because
It
there
was
was
national, but you just listed it.
I remember there
the
was
listing
people that I was talking to from Virginia, from Washington, from all over.
The only difference,
that-
you
that
you
time.
posted on different channel for people to see. There's
No,
nothing
I
called
understand
national
that.
search.
Well, that's called, okay. All right, that's fine. So, ready to move forward, however you want to proceed, Mr. Mayor.
The one, and it's to ask the city manager to ask the personnel department to post the job for 30 days.
30 days. Can we nominate a deputy, what they call it, is it a interim or deputy, how do they call it? Interim city acting, however they want to call it,
We're not done
before
yet.
then?
Okay,
Or,
well, let's finish with that. Are
I thought
we
we
clear
done.
with that?
I am very clear, sir.
Okay, like as quick as tomorrow, the next day is gonna be posted.
do we, okay.
Okay, so we're done with that.
No, but quick question. How does it, I remember the process was a little bit different when we last did it. As far as, is it the same language or is it the same, is the salary scale? I don't know. I'm just asking.
I mean, what we can do right now, you have an established job description, all of
Mhm.
that stuff, pay scales, all that stuff. I can share that with you all.
You don't have, the city is
yeah.
96 years old. We've
Yeah,
been doing
you
that
have it.
all
You
over.
have it.
Mr.
There's
Mayor, I
nothing
know.
new.
If you want to, it's there. We can share that with you, let you guys take a look at it. But I can assure you all of the necessary requirements, minimums, experience levels, all of that stuff's already built into that job description. You know, if there's something particular you want to add, that's why I said I'll share it with you. If there's something particular you want to add, you can just
No, if someone
send
wanna
us a
add
note.
something
Right.
particular,
Right.
then they can
Add-
talk
just
to
talk
you
me
and
about
add
it, and
it.
we'll
Yeah.
add it. Yeah.
Well, before, if that's gonna happen, that's what I would like for you to at
Okay.
least email that to me,
Not a problem.
to whoever else up here to look at it and you know, we'll, I guess, share
You
with you
will have
whatever
it
the
in
case is.
first thing in the morning.
Okay, no problem.
Move to adjourn?
No,
I think
not
we
yet.
got-
Not yet.
Now you Scott.
There's a pregnant pause here.
Not
Those
yet.
are always
Second.
dangerous, so I know the management
I would
team
like
probably
to,
wants
yeah, I would like to do that, the interim in between, because I don't know how long the search will take, the whole process. I would feel comfortable if we do that tonight. If I do have a second, I would like to make a motion. Mr. Man, would that be something I'd like to nominate the acting city manager to be Arthur Sori? And then as we do the search, if I could get a second, and then we could move. At least I'll feel, because within those 2 weeks.
Okay, starting February 1st, Arthur Sori will be the acting city manager. That's
Let's
it.
vote.
To vote on
Okay.
it, Mr. Mayor.
Huh?
Is it the first? Well, if he's leaving on the 30th, so it needs to be
31st.
31st.
January
Oh,
31st.
okay.
That-
Yeah,
That's
he's already the deputy. You
complicated.
can't,
That's
and we've
it's
run
the
into this,
automatically the
we've also been down this path before. You can't
Yeah.
have an interim and city attorney serving at
Exactly.
the same time, because now you got to bump somebody's pay up
Absolutely.
to match, et cetera. So it's easier that if we're gonna
You
appoint Mr.
clean.
Sori, that we
That's
get that.
So
That's
that's
what
my
it is.
motion. Can I
That's-
get a second, and
the
then we could
motion
vote?
she seconded.
Oh,
No,
okay.
actually, Carol seconded.
Yeah.
Carol Key seconded.
Oh, okay.
I have a motion to appoint Deputy City Manager Arthur Sori as the interim city manager as of February 1st, 2020, made by Vice Mayor Alex Desilme, seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Now,
Now,
report, and
No, no.
Madam City Clerk, your report, please.
First off, I'd like to wish everybody a prosperous and very happy new year. I want to very briefly address the board's issue. Yes, I have been trying to encourage people to join boards, committees, and commissions, and the opportunity to apply is still available. Unfortunately, I'm not the only person in control of that process, but I am happy to report that my understanding from the city attorney's office and the city manager's office working together, we will be able to continue with appointments at our next council meeting. And so please continue to apply that pressure. I can't do it alone, but I appreciate everybody's interest and anybody who has already applied. And of course, as the councilwoman mentioned, tomorrow we are honoring the birthday of Martin Luther King, who stated that one of life's most persistent questions is, what are we doing for others? And so I ask all of you to honor this man's birthday by doing something for somebody else tomorrow. And it's something that I hope that you continue to do throughout the entire year. To know me is to know that that's something I'm very passionate about, being in the service of others. And so I encourage you to, if you haven't made a resolution, that's okay, but hopefully this is one of your goals, to do something nice for somebody each and every single day. Thank you, and that is all.
City Attorney,
No report, Mayor.
City Manager.
I want to certainly thank each of all of you for your trust and support. This last 4+ years has been quite an adventure for me. I want to obviously thank the entire staff. We've done a lot of things, and I think I chronicled that in the communication that I sent to you. For all the employees, and a lot of them have been coming up to me these last few days, and I appreciate the trust that they put in me to lead this team. You got a great team of people. They desire to be accountable and work hard for the citizens. And of course, I know nothing lasts forever, and I've been through this process a few times. And I know you, and I trust this board will continue to move this city forward in the right direction. So, you know, that's it. You know, again, thank you for your full consideration today. And, you know, as I told you guys privately, I will be making myself fully available for any questions or anything you guys need as we go forward. I think you already know this. I still hold my relationships with my folks at the county that I've served. I still hold my relationship with my elected officials and my colleagues at the City of Miami still. Those relationships have done everything for me, and I don't let them go. So plan on me being in your face for life or longer now. So again, thank you, and to the staff, the directors, everybody. I appreciate you guys. Oh yeah, City Attorney. Oh, and the residents. The residents, what you guys don't know, these 4 years was on some level about me proving something to myself, which was that I could be given the keys to the car and drive. And, you know, as Bob said and some of the other citizens, yes, everything wasn't agreeable, everything wasn't perfect, but I put my best foot forward, and I love engaging with the citizens and coming up with solutions. So I do thank all of the residents of the city of North Miami. So thank you.
Deputy City Attorney, Deputy City Manager.
On behalf of all of the staff, you know, we'd like to thank Larry for his hard work, dedication. We did turn a corner over the last 4 years, and I know everybody saw business was done a lot differently. As I stated in some of our past quarterly luncheons and everything, this is the first time that we've been on the forefront of a lot of things, and we're not behind other cities or somebody telling us what we should be doing. Larry's led us, and we've done stuff and got things done the right way and moved forward. With that being said, thank you, Larry, on behalf of the staff, and we look forward to continue to work with you in the future. With that being said, I would like to give a brief. Councilwoman Keys did send me an email regarding the Red Garden. We are moving forward. I will have a full report. I would like to assure everybody that Chief Larry Jariga has been with us in every step of our planning process. So we're working on what will be with crowd control and everything. But we will have a full presentation at the next council meeting moving forward with Red Garden. Things are going very well. I think everyone will be proud of the statement that North Miami will be doing with this pop-up temporary space that we have going right now. I'd like to again thank and then thank you guys for your confidence in me being the interim city manager, and I'll continue to work hard throughout the process. Thank you.
I know we have to go real quick, Scott. I know you have to make your motion, and I'll second that. But just for the public, and I'm glad the deputy mentioned it. I know as much as, and I put my confidence in him and Larry, and I said that to them. Because a lot of people just assume because it's my district, I know more than everybody up here, which I don't. I know as much as they do. And if I need something, I call the deputy and trying to find out. So I am eager to wait to find out as far as, and that's the other thing, a lot of people making those assumptions. I don't know as much as a lot of you think I know, or a lot of you are accusing me of thinking that I do know, but I'm willing to wait until the next meeting to get the report from him. So those who are calling me thinking that I know everything about the Red Garden, I don't know as much as you think I do, because I don't. Thank you.
I have a motion.
Second.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn made by Galvin, seconded by Councilman Desame. All in favor? All opposed? Meeting adjourned.